Anita. Anita has always been and remains the center of my life.
Hey, folks, today's episode is sponsored by Squarespace. And if you have a business or you sell things online, you know how important a good website is. Not just to showcase your stuff, but to make sure you get paid. Squarespace gives you everything you need to sell whatever you want to sell. And they make sure you get all your payments on time with professional invoices and online pay portals. Plus, streamline your workflow with built-in appointment scheduling and email marketing tools. Check out all Squarespace has to offer first by going to WTFpod.com and seeing a website powered by Squarespace.
We don't try to change
then
each other.
head to squarespace.com/WTF for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code WTF to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
I'm happy with my life and I don't want to hurt Anita.
Squarespace.com/WTF. Offer code WTF.
We are at an exhibition curated by one of Anita's friends, Sandra. She is an artist herself.
Do it.
I've never been able to get along with her.
Let's do this show.
She behaves too sophisticatedly at the level of ostentatious sophistication, I would say. She talks all the time about helping the poor, minorities, and other humanitarian things. But at the same time, her entire life passes in the highest circles of society, among rich and, for the most part, pompous people. It seems to me that she lacks the depth for such big words.
Do this.
I am sure that these people open endless doors for her creativity. She is known as an artist, and I am no stranger to art, but I don't understand anything about her work. They all look planned and not born out of sudden inspiration. First, she tried her hand at sculpture, then at painting from photographs, but I still haven't seen anything that I would want to hang in my home. Unfortunately, a couple of her works already decorate our home as gifts. While I try to pass the time trying different cocktails and talking to people who, like me, look like they were dragged here by force, Sandra is constantly introducing people to Anita. Finally, Anita stands next to me. How much longer? I asked. Sorry, I didn't know it would take so long. Another hour.
Short talk
hey, Anita, I want to introduce you to Florian. He consults for most art magazines in Europe and knows my work. I don't want to meet anyone else, so I look at the terrible picture to my left.
So many
she doesn't even give me 2
people
minutes to talk to my wife.
She's got a Netflix special coming out this week
and it would be rude not to say hello. I turn around and see this guy kissing Anita's hand. What a cliche.
So
usually Anita. I've heard a lot about you. I wonder if he says this to every woman he meets, like a recorded voice on the subway, or if this is a pleasure specifically for my beautiful petite wife.
But anyway,
Anita giggles.
over the
weekend, I extend
weekend,
my hand and say, "Hi, I'm Sean. Nice to meet you." He shakes my hand and says, "Hello, Sean," and again switches to Anita. I look at Sandra. She smiles, her mouth open, looking at them as if she had just made some vital deal for us. Anita is a publisher and sometimes works with the art community, but this is just a small part of her work.
If you like that kind of animation stuff,
I did this in Italy. We saved that in Argentina. Who cares? Finally, I take Anita's hand and remind her that I'm waiting for us to leave.
But we were over at Universal,
and she tries to find the right moment to interrupt him.
Me and
a few minutes later, yes, he didn't stop talking for a second, she says. I can't describe how glad I was to meet you. It's time for us. I hope you can stop them. Stop whom? How long have I been nosing while standing? On the way home, I asked, did you enjoy tonight?
It was not bad.
There were some good sculptures and paintings, and Sandra was very happy. So good on us. I want to know what they talked about for so long, but I don't want to spoil her mood because she didn't make me feel uncomfortable all evening. Why upset her? Why say I was bored to death? The same weekend, we were at a charity picnic. I didn't know Sandra invited us. If I had known, I would not have gone so calmly.
Let's go on a ride.
I'm positioned next to the grill and can pick up the meat when it's perfectly medium rare, just the way I like it. Cold beer, beautiful day. Anita is next to me, and Anita, come here. You need to see this. Yes, Sandra.
They couldn't make it happen.
I wonder how someone can be so annoying with such a hot figure. Anita makes a forgive me face as she is dragged away again. From time to time, I look around for Anita. She is constantly talking to someone.
I don't know.
Don't think that I'm one of those guys who stands at a party, gloomily staring at one point.
I forget
communicate with everyone around me. I even persuaded the guy with the barbecue who, by the way, is the CEO of some company to offer me to open a restaurant together. So I'm having a great time. But I want to have fun with Anita. I see her at the other end of the field, next to the trees. She's talking to someone. I didn't see it last time, but is this the guy with the French name? The one we met at the exhibition. He talks to Anita and jokes. Anita looks pleased.
And somehow in my mind,
I suddenly realized that I don't want her to laugh like that.
I kind of like roller coasters, and I don't know where that came from.
Are you having a good time? I have no problems.
I had a wife who was very into roller coasters, so I did some roller coaster riding.
Why did she say this? I felt uneasy. This is some new, unfamiliar feeling. I don't dwell on it, but I don't like how I feel right now. I look in that direction again, but she is no longer there. There are other people standing there, and I don't see her. Half an hour later, she returns with Sandra. Looks like we can leave now. On the way home, I managed not to talk about how I feel. Being close to her makes me feel normal. That week, she had to go on a business trip for 2 days. She came back last night, and as I watch her sleep, I realized that I still miss her. I'm sorry she had to go to work again today, but I needed to. So this week has been terrible. One day, I had to stay late at work, and she came back late almost every day. We couldn't spend time together. Crap. And now Anita is waiting for my answer. I haven't seen her all week, and then this. Come on, Sean. It's not nice to treat my friend like that. I don't do that to you. But I really don't want to. She stands in front of me, already dressed, waving a shoe that she hasn't put on yet. I have to go. If you want to stay, I'll go myself. This is the first time. We've never done this before. It's not that we always did everything together, but we didn't leave each other when someone didn't want to do something that we always did together. I think for a few seconds, maybe this is an opportunity to finally get rid of these events organized by Sandra. It's a bad feeling again because I'm pretty sure this bitch also invited that sticky bastard who can't stop talking to my wife. Looking at her beautiful legs in nylon stockings, her graceful waist, her beautiful face. I don't want to send her there alone. So delicious. She said Andrew and Ross will be there too. She nodded, but didn't try to convince me anymore.
The first jerk,
Andrew was great. Okay,
should I loosen my body?
She seemed too indifferent to my decision. I can't believe we're going to a party again at Sandra's invitation. Sandra is a boring person who loves to talk about themselves. Like that tacky snob in I have a special designer scarf for every occasion. I don't understand why Anita is still not tired of such people. Andrew is really cool, but when Ross is around, he becomes sad. Because Ross is waiting for Andrew to mess up so he can tease him. It was funny 20 years ago. But how can he not understand that Andrew doesn't like it anymore?
Every morning.
Yes, we are there, and I see. Boring, snob, boring. They're all here. Half of them don't have my income, but they walk around like royals. Hey, is this the drink I drank last year? The one we tried on holiday in Bonaire from Cactus?
I think it's a good ride.
Well, I'm looking for the guy with the drinks. Of course, Sandra comes up and says, You need to meet this woman. Is she trying to separate us? I'm standing with 2 glasses of this drink because Anita is on an excursion again. And this is not that drink. Wonderful. I'm already on my 3rd drink while Andrew has been talking to some guy for an hour. And there's no sign of Ross. I'm standing alone again, just waiting for the end of this evening. Is it because of the party or am I getting old? No, it's because of the party. I see Anita. Sandra drags her somewhere again. She still introduces her to new people. This cocktail is delicious. It's not that drink, but it's not bad either. I'll take another one. Finally, I see Ross.
Every day.
He's flirting with some 20-year-old girl. Come on, man.
But it's
I see
all
Anita and that guy in the other
internal.
star talking to Anita. Of course, yes.
So
Sandra stands there with that stupid smile of hers. Same scene, but different surroundings. There's another guy holding Sandra's hand, Caballero style. Sandra and the guy are watching him talk, and he's looking at Anita like she's the only person in the room. It's not cool.
With a certain amount of confidence.
I can't spend a single minute with my wife. That's it. I'll tell Anita about this. This is an argument she can't take offense to. Andrew finally arrives. He told me what he wanted from that guy. I didn't listen attentively, but it was something about customs and imports. We gossip about Ross and how his girlfriend's age hasn't changed for the last 20 years. I look around and don't see Anita. I'm going to the toilet. I come back and still don't see her. I go out onto the balcony.
There's something about it.
I borrowed a cigar from a friend.
Just maybe because it's old. I don't know. It's a very manageable roller coaster,
but I like his idea.
Your fucking body is sore afterwards.
Andrew, going back inside, says that's bullshit.
I don't know how
much
research they put into this, but there was something about that old cycle
that was fun.
He got a little nervous that it would fall off the rails, and you could just feel the woodenness of it.
Oh, here she comes. Is she still talking to that guy alone? Where is Sandra? He tells her something funny, probably, and Anita can't stop laughing. Damn, no one laughs so charming. Wait, he finally stopped talking and looked at her while she laughed. This cartoon character is looking at her the same way I am, thinking the same thing. Anita touches his shoulder and whispers something in his ear. There is no loud music here.
They gotta really pack it in.
Where were they? I'm going to them. They both laugh, and I see Anita blush. Did he joke with her about erotic topics? When did they become so close? Sandra intercepts me on the way. Having a good time, Sean.
I don't know why I feel
like declaring that, or is she going to say again how good Anita is there? Yeah, whatever you say, I answered without stopping. I put an end to this disturbing conversation. Is she joking? This is my wife, and she spent more time with this SpongeBob than with me, and that's just the part I saw. He notices me walking towards them, says something to my wife, she looks at me, takes a step back, and their faces become serious for a moment. Oh, she just remembered I was here and noticed me coming over.
Think about what you can accomplish in 3 to 6 months.
He smiles too, but I don't like his expression. You remember Florian? You know Sean. I smile like I'm trying to poop when I'm constipated. I know how to behave politely, but my base essence is trying to break through. I think so, I answered, remaining calm. Of course, I remember. Good to see you again, Sean. Not a drop of sincerity, but most people here are like that. I can't figure out if he really is like this, or if he's just acting like this now.
Or you can start seeing thicker, fuller hair regrowth thanks to him.
Without smiling. I haven't hit anyone since college, but I guess it's like riding a bike. Since there's no one around whom I would be ashamed, why not? Of course, I would never do that. I am Anita's good husband, and I don't want to disgrace her. But still, why not? It's time to go home, go to work tomorrow. I said, I could give you a ride if you want to stay. He says this to my wife, makes plans on my behalf, suggests things as if he is a person. Since when is he so confident in himself? For me, he is not a person. He does not correspond to any item on my list. What he does is disrespectful from the very beginning. Is he wearing smoky eye makeup? Are you kidding me? Anita looks at me. She's trying to figure out if I'm okay with this proposal. Is this the feeling everyone talks about? Jealousy? Is it a little grudge against the love of your life? For the first time, I want to say, you can stay if you want, just to see her reaction. Don't I trust her? Where were they? She must have seen my gaze and the way my tongue moved in my mouth with growing anger. She touches his hand and says, not today, Flo. I also have work tomorrow. Flo, I always trusted her. I always felt at ease with her. I never thought that she might be interested in someone else. But today was terribly worrying. I don't want to feel like this again. On the way home, I finally talk about what's been bothering me. What's going on with this dangling scarf? Flo,
see
what do you mean?
website for full details and important safety
information. Today it was difficult for me to recognize you.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've made me feel this way.
Get your hair going.
She acts like I insulted her.
I think it's better than flying to Turkey.
If she is truly offended, I will regret it. I won't be able to sleep in this state. I need to talk before we get home. Otherwise, she will go to bed and not talk. I told you that I miss you, but you didn't spend a single minute with me where you dragged me.
I guess
I didn't drag you there. I said I could go alone. Anyone who didn't know who we were might think he was your husband and not me. I know it was a pathetic thing to say, but I need to get her to talk. I'm not saying I want her to admit anything, and I hope there's nothing like that. But if this is the case, or if there is some problem, I need to know. If anyone has ever felt this way, they will understand that it is impossible to live with. But she is silent. She doesn't comment or get mad at me. We are at home and she is in bed. It's so strange that I feel like I have absolutely no control over my life. I can't get my wife to talk to me. I can't force her to show empathy for my experiences. I know that if this continues, I won't be able to keep her from going to that bitch Sandra's parties or exhibitions. And I also know that I won't be able to be there anymore. Otherwise, I will start acting rude and will probably lose Anita completely, even if there is no problem yet. I can't sleep and it's already morning. She finds me in the living room looking out the window. She doesn't say a word, makes coffee, drinks it, and leaves. I'm angry at her. I won't drink her coffee. I pour it down the sink and make myself a new one. That day, I slept in the office, but returned home early. It's already 10 in the evening, and she's still not there. If she doesn't care how I feel, if she doesn't care that our marriage is being harmed, then I won't care either. At first, I thought that perhaps I was rushing things too quickly, but then I convinced myself. No one who loves another person would allow him to feel this way. Whether you are right or wrong is what you say. You're arguing, but you don't withdraw into yourself. I call one of my friends, the one I've been avoiding for the last 2 years, and ask if he's free. He says that he's married and has plans with his wife. What the hell? Was he waiting for me to have problems in my personal life? I called someone else, but he's out of town. I gave up and went drinking alone. I sit at the bar and mentally replay my situation. If she has someone, nothing I do will change it. I can't make her jealous. I can't make her love me again. There are probably words of wisdom for such situations. I remember one phrase about the state when you regret that you took pity on someone in despair. I'm not saying she was desperate when she met me, but giving up his power like Superman did in that movie for her. I don't remember if he did it for Lois Lane. Seemed a favor on my part. Perhaps many people have experienced this. For the first time, I think about the sacrifice I made by agreeing to be with a woman who had little chance of finding someone like me, and I'm really starting to believe that she's done with me. I don't argue that anyone can change their mind. It's sad. It may be unfair, but it's human. I will become part of these statistics. One of those people you hear or read about.
You guys have known me a long time.
But without letting me know, without even letting you suspect,
there's always some part of me,
that guy? Is this possible? Is she having an affair? If I find out that yes, I have only one choice, I will leave her and feel sorry for myself for wasting my life on this, but I will survive.
There's some part of me that thinks I don't know how to do it.
How do I know if she doesn't talk to me? I just noticed a girl sitting next to me.
Or that somehow
she's amazing.
Another,
why is she looking
I'm
at me?
just not going to do well.
I think yes.
Or that
Why
the
do you
audience is not going to like me. It just never goes away.
I feel terribly bad.
It's so
2 hours have passed, and it seems my
annoying.
suspicions are correct.
And I
she
think,
agrees with me.
again,
she is very beautiful and kind,
what I was talking
but I don't want
about
anything with her. Not now.
last
I
week
can't explain how lucky I am.
About
you make
this
me feel
medicine
better. I don't think I'll get well again anytime soon. But thank you for this evening. I get up and pay for our drinks. Call if you want to talk or drink coffee. God, how nice it was. After all these years, to feel that I am still alive inside and out, and that I can still get a phone number from such an angel. When I go home, I feel better. I don't know why I did it, but taking a napkin with her number, I kissed her hand and said, "I'll definitely call." I don't feel guilty, even if my suspicions were false. No one has the right to force their partner through this, especially me, because I never did anything to deserve this. I won't talk to Anita tonight. I feel better now, and I will try to maintain this feeling. She betrayed my trust, not because she may have cheated on me. I still don't know that. But now I know that she can live as if nothing happened while I am torn in pain. I changed my mind. Tomorrow I will try to talk to Anita, and if she avoids me again, I will make a decision.
And I went back
whether she cheated on me or not. This is no longer the woman I love, and not the marriage I deserve. I quietly enter the house. I honestly don't want to talk to her. If she was true, she deserves to remain in the dark, just like me. I take off my shoes, walk slowly into the living room, and stop. I don't see her shoes in their usual place. I slowly walk up to the door and check the bowl where we put our keys and small items. Her car keys aren't there. I put my shoes back on and go outside. Her car is gone. I go upstairs and check the bedroom. She hasn't come home. I really don't want to do this, but I have to. I call her. She doesn't answer. I call Andrew and go to spend the night with him. I don't want to be alone. This is too much for me. This destroys my confident and cheerful attitude. In the morning, I talk to him. He doesn't want to say much, but I understand that he agrees with me. Dude, let's not get ahead of ourselves. She'll show up eventually, and you'll find out what's going on. I've already moved beyond doubt, Andy. This is unacceptable. I don't deserve this, and I don't think we can be okay after this, even if she has a good reason. I understand your point of view. Maybe she's having some sort of nervous breakdown or something. She snapped at his jokes that night. Perhaps you're right. Are these Cuban? Come on, dude. I only have one box left. Don't you see that I'm hurting? Crap. Okay, take one, but no more. And stop pushing. The horns are about to show. Hey, no jokes on this topic. I'll take two as punishment.
There's a tone to comedy.
It is so important to be with a friend. Morning is finally coming.
I'm not the guy.
I couldn't sleep well again. I'm waiting for him to go to work so I can go with him. I don't want to go home because she probably won't be there and I'll go crazy. I can go to work, come up with some meetings and spend my time like that. If I can act calm in the evening, it might confuse her. I hate to realize that I'm still trying. It's no longer in my hands. I return home in the evening and see that the light is on. She's at home. I open the door and see her looking at me from the kitchen. I go to the bedroom without saying a word to her. She needs to see that I'm angry and that I have walls too. I take a shower, change clothes, and go downstairs. Where were you last night? No, I heard right. It wasn't me who asked this question. She asked me.
So I'm breaking my brain backstage.
Oh, so you're back after all. I called you. I was busy.
They're having a
busy
good time. They've seen like 9 other people.
Oh, shut up. What?
We're all
How can you
full
talk
of
to me
the
like
juice.
that? Oh, dear Anita, look at me with your beautiful evil eyes as much as you want.
Now
they don't have that power over me. You are no longer the Anita I fell in love with. She wouldn't do that to me.
It was
I
kind
think
of
you've already lost
interesting
me.
because I've
Crap.
been
What did I just think? I should have said it out
wanting
loud.
this stuff
But this was
so
not true.
much.
Those would be nice words if I had the courage to say them to her.
Chunk of
This thought hurts me,
material,
and I want to
and
replace it with, I think I've lost you.
on here in
because I
different
lied.
forms
Those eyes, and that
where
would still make me nervous. At least until I find out that she somehow
there's this
betrayed me.
idea,
I
like,
need
you
proof.
know,
You
just
can tell
go
me
out
if you
there
want.
and have a good
If you don't
time.
want to,
So
I've already suffered enough. I know something is going on. What? What are you talking about?
When has it
Do you
ever
like him?
been a
Are you
good
letting your bitch
time?
friend Sandra interfere with our marriage?
I
Don't
like
you care when you leave your husband to worry about you and our marriage? I realized that I couldn't stop you the day before yesterday. Sean, I didn't know you had such an inferiority complex.
I went on after Whitney,
I'm not trying.
and I got out there.
You've proven that you can do whatever you want without answering to anyone. You're talking nonsense. At least I'm not hiding anything from you.
And I realized,
I didn't do anything.
And you'll see this in the special
didn't call back, didn't come home.
There is a different tone to it sometimes.
I didn't beat him there just so as not to disgrace you.
But then at some point, I'm just,
oh, now she realized it was serious. I see.
You'll watch it in the special. I'm like, I just want to be entertaining.
I was just trying.
Because I think we need entertainment.
Now
that I've said my piece,
Sandra told me to stay close to him.
How I see the world and what's happening.
She said he would help
promote
our business.
How about some entertainment?
Oh, that's what she said, right? Before or after you hinted to me that you seem to be having fun with all the strange antics and meaningful smile. What? There must be some kind of misunderstanding. Why would she put me in an awkward position?
And I went out there.
Maybe she regretted introducing us because we got along too well. Maybe she said that to alarm you.
I always assume that I'm going to be
It sounded like a random string of words in an attempt to justify himself. And what? To stop you from flirting with him after she persistently pimped you out? Don't insult my intelligence.
Or why I feel like I'm the outsider.
You cling to one word to avoid the essence of the conversation. You never answered where you were at that party. I think this is the first time I've raised my voice to her.
Somebody tell my
what do you think?
brain
Did I let him have sex with you upstairs?
It's not true.
When were you there? At that party among all these people? What
but
you
the
about
reason
like
I'm
maybe there's some truth in her words. We are not teenagers.
Happy that
Nothing
I
like this
noticed
happened
it
at such
and I
parties
don't take
as far
it
as
for
I knew.
granted.
But still, they were not
I just went out there and killed so fucking hard.
You will regret this in the future.
I guess I did have a good time.
I don't want to discuss this
anymore.
Because
I didn't expect it.
You insulted me enough already.
I thought
you
like I'd have half the house with me.
I'll be in the office all week and staying with Sandra. So if you threaten me with breaking up or anything else, please act. If you don't trust me, we have nothing more to talk about. She threw the plate on the counter, put on her shoes, and grabbed her purse and keys. She left without looking at me.
But that shit
She looked
killed.
angry. I can't think
Everybody
clearly at this
knows
moment.
what's going on.
She was very angry, so I must be wrong.
Fucking nervous.
But there's no explanation why she avoided answering some questions and how pathetically she tried to get out of others. I called her, but she doesn't answer.
Left wing,
this is my third call, and now her phone is off.
Democrat.
I couldn't sleep all week.
After a certain
I called
point,
Sandra
there's
several
no
times,
way
and each time she said that Anita was sleeping or in the office. Sandra spoke to me as if she was accusing me, but she didn't sound angry. She even seemed to like it.
Something
I wanted to
wrong
insult
with
her,
you.
but she was the only thread that could connect me with Anita.
You're not a great person,
especially when you feel like this, clouds your mind.
Seeing
this
the
can go either
amount of
way,
people
but in
that
my
are
case, it resulted in me feeling more guilty than resentful. My panic that I might ruin something I had invested my entire life in outweighed my anger, and how she treated me when I didn't deserve it. I realized that even if I was wrong,
is
I did not have the credibility that would allow her to console me. But sometimes I still wondered where she was at that moment. What if she was with him? What if I was right? I don't know. This feeling doesn't seem to be going away. I'll probably never feel the way I did before, but I still love her, I guess. I don't want her to not be in my life. I could if I had proof or a confession.
And then I did
the cat piece, and I might be able to consider something.
Huge. It was just,
but can I stop loving her based on just a guess? And again, can I live with this doubt in my head, doubting where she is when she's not around?
In my fucking bones already, that I can do that.
This weasel could easily invite this guy to her home and play the role of matchmaker.
Why don't you just do that all the time? Why do you choose to do material sometimes
too many gray areas have emerged in this short period,
provocative or challenging?
But as I said, the guilt outweighed my suspicions and anger. Perhaps because the other option was less likely to be true, or it was more difficult for me to accept. I don't know. Today is the day she should return. If she counted the days the same way I did. It's now 10:40 p.m. and she's still not home. I called her. Her phone is on. She doesn't answer. I've been calm until now, but now I'm panicking. I want to apologize, but I can't reach her on the phone. I think I've ruined everything. I hear her open the door. I get up, and she's standing on the threshold. I can't tell if she's angry or disappointed that I'm still here. I'm sorry for everything I said. I love you more than anything in the world, and I probably lost control of myself because of this, because of my jealousy.
But that's
I'm
just
disgusted
me.
with myself at this moment, but I don't have the strength to defend myself. I'm on the verge of either fixing it or leaving. It's hard for me to see how she doesn't even try to make me feel better after I confess my love and jealousy to her. After I told her how important she was to me. She looks softer. Not as if he loves me, but softer. Can we forget about what happened? I promise I won't do that again. This last phrase was not part of my plans. I acted like a newbie at a business meeting, trying to close a deal at the last minute.
And now we're grown
people. I watched her take off her
people.
shoes, come up to me, kiss me on the lips, and go upstairs. I feel fine, not great, but relieved. Relieved because, in theory, I saved what we had. But deep inside, something terrifies me. Because if she cheated on me, I would beg her to forgive me, and she would just say, okay, in response.
May 20th, and it's very touching.
She didn't cheat. I'm waiting for her to get out of the shower. It's strange, actually. Normally, we would be in the shower together having sex, make up sex, to show each other that after a difficult period, everything is okay. But it seems to me that I can't go there. Like I need permission. It's like she's not mine. Or worse, like I'm not sure if we're at that level of intimacy, like this is a new date. I think it will take us a while for everything to be the same again. For some reason, I feel a certain shyness, the same one that you feel with a stranger. I hope it will always be like this. She comes out in a robe. I'm not sure if she's done this before. She grabs another towel and returns to the bathroom. When she comes out again, she is already wearing a nightgown. I miss her breasts. I get up to hug her, but she says, I'm still a little angry, give me some time. In the morning, I look at her while she sleeps. I don't feel at peace this morning. I'm not sure how she'll react when she wakes up. She opens her eyes and looks at me, a hesitant smile, and then she gets out of bed. I watch her breasts when she sits down, her hair when she bends over to put on her slippers, and her swaying ass when she goes to the bathroom. Today, I want her body more, but I don't feel that soft, calm love. I'm wondering if anyone else looked at that ass when she walked into some bathroom recently. She returns home late for the next 2 weeks.
Hearing aids
After this, everything begins to return to normal. That's when we had our first sex. That very day, she came home on time. 2 months have passed, and I feel like our normal was different. At times, she stares into space or appears bored. I feel like my importance in this marriage has diminished. Today in the office, it dawned on me. I haven't heard about parties or exhibitions for a long time. In fact, I haven't heard Sandra's name for a long time. I'll call and ask Andrew.
No,
I haven't heard about Sandra or her parties for a long time.
5 years ago.
I was there this Saturday. I didn't ask why you weren't there because you haven't been there for a long time. Anita also stopped coming after a few weeks. Anita went in those weeks when you had problems.
I never wear them, but I wear it. I'll bring them
was that guy with her?
to
Which guy? Oh, that guy.
A party or an event where it's
no, nothing special.
a lot of noise.
They talked or stood together all the time. As far as I remember, Sandra was with them. Are you still thinking about it? I thought it was a false alarm.
And you can't see him.
What the hell? Why didn't you call me?
You really
I didn't think it was anything serious because they behaved like that when you were there. Why?
So
what did she say? Nothing.
What's going
That's the problem.
on? Are we
did they
just
come and go together?
aging?
I don't remember
Is this
Sean. It
just
seems they
what's
left together one
happening?
day.
Yeah,
Is
we're
he an
just
idiot?
aging.
Do I need to find
I
out
mean,
all this?
there's not a reason for it. I wasn't a drummer in a rock band or anything.
Even if it cost me my marriage due to a false alarm.
You were doing?
Floriana? Hardly. He's now engaged to Sandra.
I'm always near amps. No.
Okay, this may sound a little suspicious. I mean, I think you might find it suspicious if you think about it. Andy, tell me everything. Damn it. I heard that he took Sandra on vacation for 2 days after the party where I last saw Anita.
Come on.
Yes, it's suspicious. And he put the ring on her finger at her show that week.
I finally did it
Ross said
because
Anita and Sandra had a fight then and don't speak anymore.
Well, I was driving people around me
Come on, dude.
crazy,
She will mess with your head
and
for
then
no
I
reason.
read
See you later.
something that
It's Anita's
said,
fault to let her
or
slutty
no,
friend
you
have a
know who
chance to mess
told
with
me
my head.
this?
Months ago,
Rivers,
no
Mark
one would have confused
Rivers
my thoughts about
has
Anita.
them.
Sandra was the cause of all my problems. But at this moment, after she broke up with
he
Anita,
has
she could be the only
reasons,
person who could help me clarify the situation.
And he said,
she finally answered. Yes,
I think
Sean.
he told me
Her
this,
voice
but I
sounded
saw
distant,
an article
coldly
about
distant.
it too.
Hello,
where
Sandra. How are you?
People
Fine. What did you want to talk about?
hearing
Why are you
loss,
talking like that? What's
untreated
okay,
hearing
if you want to play
loss,
this game, please. I'm doing well, Sean. How are you?
Easily
How's work?
get
Her
dementia.
fake friendly voice was even
But
worse
they're
than the
saying
cold
that
one.
about fucking
I spoke to
everything.
Andrew, and he
That's
said that
true.
you and Anita are no longer in contact. I wanted to ask you because Anita didn't tell me anything about it.
And I asked the hearing lady, the audiologist,
and if you really need to know, I'm not like you.
About it, and she said it's not.
What the hell is she talking about? I don't understand. Can you?
Something
I'm
like
getting married, and my
that
husband is
happens in
not
the
there to
brain.
share.
It's just because,
not all marriages are like yours.
And
don't bother me anymore.
totally
And she hung up.
relate to this when you can't hear well.
Ideas began to pop up in my head on their own.
just
Her words about my
avoid
marriage were disturbing. She no longer answered my calls, and I stood there with the phone in my hand, confused, almost completely sure of what Sandra
I've
meant, but
become
still
my
without proof.
nana where
Could
I'm
she be
like,
cunning enough to come up
what?
with
And they
something on the fly
repeat it,
to
and I
cast a
go,
false shadow on
what?
Anita?
And they
Could she be
say it
making this all
again,
up?
and I still
What did I
don't hear
share
it,
with
so
my
I
wife?
just go,
I could hardly wait for Anita to return home. The time for conversation has come. I couldn't wait any longer and caught her by surprise when she was taking off her shoes. I called Sandra.
But what's that got to do with dementia? But
she looked at me with indifferent eyes.
Yes.
Because your brain doesn't get
I don't know if she was worried about this conversation.
Yeah, because you just stopped socializing.
Yes, she's marrying this Frenchman. Oh, now Flo has become that Frenchman.
My dad has it.
She made hints. I'm not surprised. She told me rude things about him. I think he was too friendly with me.
He doesn't socialize with anybody.
It's her twisted mind, not me.
Right.
And you know me.
And
if someone decides to get rid of me for some reason or for the sake of someone else,
I worry
that person
about it all
becomes
the time because now it's just
I was at a loss for words because instead of
where
preparing a counter argument, I looked at her facial expression.
she's annoyed, but she's taking care of him.
Crap. I am stuck in this state, torn by instincts, suspicious, ambiguous events, disturbing changes in Anita, and the words of a prostitute that I cannot trust. While there is my love and desire to trust Anita without any concrete evidence that could get me out of this love. While I looked at her, her words made me calm down and remain a passive hostage.
That's the thing is when you can't hear and you keep saying what, eventually your loved one goes, I said, do you want salad? And then you're like,
but I didn't regret that I didn't leave.
You don't have to have that tone with me. I'm just a human being.
I know it's pretty obvious that something happened during that period, but I don't know to what extent. Similar episodes happened several more times,
my dad doesn't socialize. He's just always been kind of lost in his head.
At those moments. A cynical mind might think that she had other affairs with other people, but since I decided to trust her, it only proved that she was busy with work during those periods. Plus, Andrew stopped trying to convince me that she was worth leaving. Okay, I don't want to admit it, but I would have left if I didn't feel like she wouldn't care. If you still love someone and the only reason to leave is to punish her, you need to be sure that she will suffer from it. Otherwise, only I will suffer.
As somebody who tried to deal with grief in a comedic way,
is the only one providing for our marriage. There are a few temporary positions available, but since we are young, I need to find a job to add to my resume. Now it looks pretty shabby since there is only one place of work. I need to gain experience for future positions, so we decided to be patient and wait for the right opportunity. But the main problem is that we made an investment. I put down my savings and signed a kind of short-term mortgage on a house that is still under construction. The house is in her name, but since her employment contract at that time was temporary, I signed the rest of the loan. Most of it has already been paid, and we don't want to lose it. We need to hold out for 2 more years. If I don't find a job with a high salary, our savings and her income won't be enough to keep the house. On the other hand, she works as an editor in the publishing department of the psychology department. This job sparked her interest in psychology, and she is now taking classes in hopes of earning a degree in the field. But unfortunately, she heard that the department was planning cuts, and she was almost sure that she would be fired in the near future. I don't think so because she's good at what she does, and the reduction has not yet occurred, although several months have passed. Trying to figure out her future prospects, she came up with the idea of recording something like a podcast. She probably calls it video vlogs or just vlogs, hoping to make money from it. She showed me one of the videos, and I must admit, it turned out to be quite interesting. When I told her about it, she decided to upload it to the internet. Neither of us expected it to get much attention, but her videos received a lot of likes, comments, and even voluntary shares. She talked about everything she was good at, recipes for her favorite foods, exercises she liked, diet, thoughts about relationships, including romantic ones. This inspired her, and success made her more relaxed in bed. We had sex like rabbits. Once she found her audience, she became more conscious of her weight and appearance, which drove me crazy. Any new outfit was sexier than the previous one, and her tone figure after training made any outfit even more attractive. I was hesitant at first because she is a very attractive girl, but I started to get jealous when she started feeling more confident and started making videos in these new outfits. She wore casual clothes, sometimes even pajamas, showing herself as she was in everyday life. I didn't like it. Then she started wearing more revealing outfits, miniskirts, tights, yoga pants, or shorts. These latest videos attracted a new audience of people who didn't care what she was saying. They wrote comments about her legs, face, lips, butt. At first it excited me, although of course it was unpleasant. Some loser once wrote, I would beat all the innocence out of you, sweet cheeks. It became unbearable for me. I tried to talk to her about it, to explain how much it bothered me. She replied that we needed money, and such comments were just a minor side effect compared to the increase in views and advertising revenues. I suggested that she slow down and said that I could take one of the temporary jobs to compensate for the income.
So much, but it was a massive
This is the first time I'm enjoying my work this much. I think something worthwhile might come out of this in the future. I am passionate about this and want to see it through to the end. It was her decision, and I was in no position to force her to back down. I wasn't making any money, and I didn't have the confidence to stand my ground.
My dad was just
your clothing style or stop taking such
he died of kidney failure, but it was pretty much of a broken heart. He could have probably
not yet. She earns more than the two of us before. I feel like a burden in this marriage, and I'm desperate to find a job. She writes texts, records videos at home, and works all day in the office. I started to feel a little forgotten because she barely comes to my bed or spends time with me. I tried to hug or kiss her whenever the opportunity arose, but most often she asked me not to interfere with her work. If I find a job, I can at least talk to her about some rules in our marriage. Another month passed, and she was not fired. Her online channel peaked and stopped growing. She tries to find new ideas to keep her audience's attention, and unfortunately, she has found that most of her new subscribers only watch her because of her innocent beauty. That's what she called it. I would say because of her revealing outfits. She's not innocent at all, no.
On their
she had always been a passionate
iPhones,
seductress in our
doctor's
relationship, at least
appointments
before
as
those
they
work
got
weeks drove us
older
apart.
so that we
She
could
lost some of her
listen
original
back.
audience, mainly due
We
to
had a
comments on the video.
family
I'm afraid that this is all
WhatsApp
turning into one of those
chain,
video
and then we
chats
could
where
listen back
subscribers
and
start
make sure
demanding something
everything's taken
specific
care
from
of.
the
And
girl. I've read a lot of similar comments. Some people tell her what to wear in the next video. Others ask her to show more legs or feet, and some ask her to meet her or describe in detail how you would make her
doctor's
prostitute.
appointment.
One of these perverts wrote
And
what
the
he would do to her
doctor,
if she
the
was sitting
worst
on his
thing you
lap
could
at this
hear,
moment, and
Janice,
described
I'm
it in
so
detail.
sorry, of
I recently
stage 4
finally found a job
pancreatic
and raised
cancer.
my voice for the first time
And you
since that
just hear him
comment.
go,
What are you, a girl of easy virtue or a model for online chats? How can you not pay attention to what they say? Jason, I'm not a prostitute, and this is not a sex show. I knew you would react this way. You think I need to show my legs to succeed?
And it's widower,
I didn't think that way.
but
I never thought that way about
it's
women.
like
I said that because of what she was doing. Also, what they see is what people see in my daily life. Don't insult me like that again. Do you think this is the first time I've been called such a word? Do you know how many times I've been roped on the street? Do you know what words most girls hear from strangers every day? I probably looked like I didn't understand anything. I actually just tried not to say anything because that's not what I meant. I don't want those bastards looking at her and satisfying themselves by looking at her legs, ass, or mouth. But you would avoid it if you could, right? You could avoid this, at least the online part. I won't let anything stop me from doing what I want. I almost wished she would lose all her followers. I didn't care about money anymore. But quite the opposite happened. She received an offer from an online podcast channel. They sent her a contract offering money for 6 months. It stated that the amount would be adjusted depending on the number of views every 6 months. She didn't even ask me before signing it. And some of the videos were supposed to go live. The first months everything was fine. After discussing more serious topics and wearing casual, modest clothes, her views dropped slightly. But she was still paid more than before. She told me that she needed to somehow increase the number of views because in her contract there was a clause about the payment depending on the number of viewers. She wanted to get a better contract next time. I tried to help her by suggesting interesting or popular topics, but she didn't like my suggestions. And today
insane.
she returned from a meeting with representatives of the channel and put a paper in front of me.
It's
I look
a
at her, waiting for an explanation.
Funny
okay,
thing.
today we review user comments and survey results.
There
were several requests from subscribers, and we discussed them to come up with a plan to increase interest in my channel. I keep listening, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah,
we immediately rejected some requests. The one we chose is about me sharing more about my personal life, about work, daily affairs, my marriage, and so on. You've done this before. What's the difference? More details. This is not a good idea. You can't know when you'll cross the line. It's full of perverts. You may regret this. We may regret this. And what kind of paper is this? This is your consent. That you will not sue me or the channel if I mention you directly or indirectly. I want this to end, but she won't forgive me if I get in her way. I read the paper, and it says pretty much what she told me. I waive the right to make any legal claims regarding any matters related to the vlogging on our channel. Or something like that.
At him
I'm
once.
signing.
He was
I'm not
being
going to demand money if she mentions my name. I'm not that greedy. What other requests were there? The ones you rejected. I asked timidly.
My dad was a delight, but he,
tell me. This time I'm really interested about what I should wear or about showing my cleavage. Things like that. Mostly from my old subscribers.
Anything you say to her,
I'm no longer so comfortable with the fact that I gave my consent.
We will hear about it.
Come on, Jason. Don't be stupid.
And I said,
I want to think a little. I'll give it back later. And putting the paper away in the folder, she heads towards me, looking at me with a predatory gaze. I sit on a chair, look into her face, and every second I get more and more excited from my abstinence of the last weeks. She knows how much I want her and uses it to stop me from taking the paper. A minute later, she kisses me, straddling me, sitting on my lap. Then he stops, looks me in the eyes, and says, "This paper remains with me, but I can give you something in return." It's as if this is a strange, passionate woman who is offering me sex for the first time. Not just because she said it that way, but because I actually felt that same thrill. I don't even think I have the right to receive what she offers as her husband does. I feel like this is a good deal for me. I think I made a sound to let her know that I accepted the offer because she smiles evilly at me.
Immediately that I was talking about it now
is completely different from the one we had before. She practically devours me. I guess she was surprised, but she doesn't look unhappy.
Came out, and I never
looks into my eyes from a few inches away, pouts her lips for a few seconds, and stands up, gently hitting me in the face a few times. I was hot too, don't worry. We'll do it again. Try to restrain yourself next time.
Someone you love.
This stellar mood changed her. It changes us. She gets bold and acts like I'm dependent on her. I don't feel equal to her. This didn't change even after I found a good job. She's getting sexier, and I want her even more as our sex life continues to deteriorate. There is no other explanation for this rookie mistake. This had never happened before except our first few times. I watch her, she grabs her suitcase and leaves. I have no idea what just happened.
I was at zero, so when I went back to doing stand-up after they died, I had nothing.
We only had sex once, quickie when she came home too horny.
So I just
during this period, I was like a mad dog, chasing her everywhere, trying to get her to sleep. One weekend, I had a really hard time watching her try on her cute and sexy outfits for her next video. All Saturday, she changed clothes in front of me, putting on socks, stockings, shorts, skirts, tight trousers.
What I said at my dad's eulogy, because there were so many funny stories.
I tried everything. I smelled everything she took off, burying my face in it to make sure she saw me like that. She smiled slightly. Obviously, this turned her on, but she still wouldn't let me get close to her. I wanted her too much that day. In the evening, she wrote something down in her notebook. When I told her I missed her, she surprised me by offering me a new low in our marriage. I missed you too, but as you can see, I'm busy. I don't have time. I need to finish this tonight. She looked at me during the conversation.
You're actually
then she continued to watch,
with the
playing with her hair.
reality.
The color of her face told me that she was thinking about unpleasant things. Since you have been worrying me since this morning, I think you should ease me a little. I wouldn't mind if you're willing to do me a favor while I'm working. Did I get her excited? I was about to explode. On the other hand, it sounded like a good offer. It could lead to her not resisting anymore and agreeing for me to have sex with her. I usually never use such terms in relation to my wife, but that day for me, she was just a girl I wanted to get into bed with. The only problem was that after I signed this document, these seductive deprivation tactics intensified. We had sex occasionally, and she never once made me feel like she was doing me a favor. She was wearing yoga pants, ankle socks, and a simple t-shirt. I think she didn't expect me to hide under the table and smile when I came closer. She stood up, straightened her clothes a little, and sat down again. It made me feel good, and I enjoyed the moment. She seemed happy with our meetings, and I was happy. Perhaps I was a little hasty, but then I remembered my main goal. Come on, Bree, I'm dying here. I finally said, we talked about it. I can't stop working now. Then let's do it here, please. Okay, you deserve some, she said, pushing her chair back and standing up. I crawled out and saw this amazing sight. She was still writing something, leaning towards the table. It's good that this time everything went differently. I was by her side as she continued to work. At that moment, it was difficult for her to concentrate. She ignored me while I rested and recuperated. Since I got what I wanted, I quietly went to bed alone. Before going to bed, it occurred to me that I could find some clues about her latest changes if I watched her videos and read the comments, of course. This morning, I woke up to an empty house. She must have left early. She did this from time to time, including Sundays like this Sunday. After breakfast, I open her channel and start watching. I have some idea about the previous ones, the ones before signing a contract with this podcast company. I skip the ones where she talks about professional life or cooking, but I make sure to look through the comments to see if they are nasty. If I see a video of her wearing hot outfits, I look through all the comments and try to stay calm while reading. I see a lot of comments similar to the previous ones, even more daring ones. Then under the video, I saw a lot of disturbing responses. They asked about our marriage, our sex life, if she is satisfied, if only she was looking. I decided to watch this video. I can't believe she's talking about how boring marriage can be. Since she is not a psychologist who listens to other people's marriages, everyone understands that she is talking about ours. We've only been married 5 years, and she thinks our marriage is boring. Okay, I'll watch all the videos after this. She answers the questions from the previous video at the beginning of this one. I think sex is normal in my marriage. Not the best, but okay. I know I'm not the reason for this. She won't let me near her. No, he's not my bitch. Why are you asking this? What? I didn't see this comment. I paused the video to make a note on paper. I will check such comments. Come on, BBB. She doesn't answer the question, but she blushes and laughs. She's embarrassed, but she looks flirtatious. What the hell? I take the note, BBB. That's too detailed. Maybe I'll answer that later. She doesn't read the question, and I have no idea what she's talking about. Yes, he goes to class with me. Who? What's the question? She's not talking about me. I must have told them something about some guy.
Different.
I'll have to watch the whole video.
I know.
Then she talks about her classes, her work. I grab some popcorn while continuing to listen to her. Finally, she starts talking about us. As some of you girls have suggested, it works. Girls, keep your men deprived. Alice's method works. Jason can't stay away from me lately, and you love the way that people crawl after you. Is she crazy? Who says such things? This could ruin my career and social life. When did she become so stupid? In any case, I continue to watch and read. It's late afternoon, and I can say I've almost finished most of her content. She was talking about a young guy who's hitting on her, and this is the one she goes to classes with. I couldn't find this BB guy. If it's even a guy, she's already mentioned us a few times, but all the shit started
know, as you grow and you change and you learn shit and you can't unring bells.
Henpecked doormat.
You know, it's kind of interesting though, because that was your big
I noticed a link to private messages on the page.
She received private messages. It still is. It's still the way you think in terms of joke writing, right?
Yeah, joke structure.
He was very good.
But since we've all been alive for as long as we've been alive,
I scrolled down to the comments. I felt really bad. It's a pity that you never got to meet a real man.
Freely
was your ex a big boy?
On your podcast,
this message was from a guy named Big Boy Barney. I looked through the comments on previous videos, and here it is.
way
this
where you can sort of work the muscles of
I advise you to try the Big Boy
in terms of an empathetic person.
He wrote this to her in front of everyone,
helping other people
while reading this comment. What's wrong with her?
Listening to other people.
She lost her mind making these videos.
You realize
finally she comes back and shouts,
"Hello!"
before going to the bedroom. I'm still trying to watch the next and last video, so I'm glad she hasn't approached me yet. She answers that question. Okay, BBB. No, he wasn't bigger, but not that big.
We have so many facets of ourselves. All people.
Why does she say such things? I don't want to read the comments.
I was just thinking, it's like, who am I going to be? Am I going to be
the BBB only said
bully, jackass, you know, Sarah, like makes fun of her friends, or am I going to be like
I need to finish the text for tomorrow. What are we talking about?
It's not
weird.
Realize
what you know, how can you talk about such things? How can you answer such questions? Oh, come on, Jason.
You know,
most of it is just stories. Most of them are not true. Engagement with followers has sent my numbers through the roof. I have fun with them. You are using my name and disgracing me. What if my coworkers find out my wife is talking about her ex's size?
Not so much
which, by the way, is bigger than mine, but still not big enough.
In terms of your
people like such topics. Humiliated husbands, depraved wives. You can tell your colleagues that this is all fake. You can say we're writing this together. Are you out of your mind? Do I look like a pimp? Do you think I look like a girl of easy virtue? This conversation is over. Believe it or not, these are stories.
I'm tired of this character I'm doing.
What did he write to you in private messages? Firstly, these are personal messages. And secondly, he does not write anything different than what he writes publicly. Would you rather they wrote that in the comments? What did he write? I want to see these messages.
I never really.
I won't show you anything, and you'll have to wait a long time before I let you into my bed after this conversation. I didn't even look when she went into the kitchen to type something on the phone. This marriage has been going to shit lately. I'll watch her next video tomorrow, and if she continues like this, I'll take her out of divorce.
I really loved kind of doing that character that was
she behaves inappropriately,
but
not like a married woman.
I
can even keep the house.
I
woke up several times during the night feeling anxious. It's already noon, and she's probably already posted her video. But I'm very busy today, so I'll have to wait until evening to watch. I see one of my colleagues with headphones on, watching something on his laptop. Since yesterday, I have been feeling irritated, and I feel like he's watching her video. It's like she's actually some kind of celebrity. As I walk towards him, he notices me and quickly presses a few keys on his screen, but I can't figure out if he's ashamed or if he's judging me. Maybe he watched adult films.
Then you're trying to be this thing for an audience.
I turn on my laptop and start watching. In the upper right corner, it says live. I realize I'm watching a recording of her live broadcast. She first answers questions from the previous video, then talks about her week, and finally begins reading online comments from viewers posted during the broadcast. She reads and answers, reads and answers. She then reads one message silently, her cheeks turn red, a big smile appears on her embarrassed face, and she says, "Oh, BBB." She's still smiling and giggling, covering her mouth with her hand while looking at the camera. Is she flirting with this guy? But this is too worrying. She can't stop smiling. I paused the video and started looking for comments, and I found him. So you still have no idea what a big boy is.
You got so mad at me.
I'm already used to messages with hints, but her reaction to this question, "Oh, this is enough for me to file for divorce. I don't care if it's fake or a made-up story. I found a site to download the video, take screenshots of such comments, and begin preparing for the divorce. Tonight I'll tell her everything.
Jokes.
She closes the channel.
And I was like, my favorite joke of yours is this one. You're like, oh my God.
We celebrated today's video.
I've done
great success.
4 specials.
What? I watched the video, and I saw you giggle at his big boy comment. Aren't you ashamed? Do you even understand the position you're putting me in? What's happening? What's your deal with this guy? Jason,
and I love doing it, and I had the Sarah Silverman program where it was like,
there are a lot of comments like that. I mean, from employees. I can't believe what she's saying. She tells me that they are deliberately making me a laughing stock.
And I loved it.
If this is true, you will stop this nonsense.
Of course, I changed and whatever. I grew up and everything, and my comedy kind of stayed the same in some ways, changed in some ways, whatever. I mean, I think if you become beholden to some character you got like famous with, you become such a caricature of yourself. It's like, you'll sell tickets, but it's sad.
You haven't shown any interest in me lately, and I see no reason to continue that. But I like what you did then. I would like you to be there when I want and when I'm busy. Don't you want this? Did you like it last time? What is she talking about?
The voice.
She started joking. We can make you under the table if you want.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And then like they don't even know when they're losing relevance anymore.
But I must remind you that you will have to find somewhere to live.
All the people that come are people that
of course you'll stay.
Were there 20 years ago.
You'll be grateful if the judge does not call you a girl of easy virtue after the verdict or verdict, whatever they call it. And why? I already copied the video and comments, and I already copied the paper you signed.
Who, like, if you really look, she reinvented herself so many times.
She did all kinds of shit. I was in bed with her
anything like that. I'm sure the judge will be the voice of reason, and I know she says big boys to hurt me even more.
But I love that she said like she didn't really feel like she came into her, like she found herself stand-up wise until she was in her 70s.
I know she allowed him to have sex with her.
That's so cool. Like, I want to be able to look forward to.
I don't want to tell you what I imagined about their sex.
We're comics.
And she didn't care that everyone in the audience thought she did. The judge did not ignore this stupid paper, and she refused to divide our investments. My stupid lawyer explained to me that the verdict was no surprise since I was essentially divorcing her for no good reason, and the house was in her name.
I'm doing
2 months have passed, and I'm still paying off the loans on her house. I live in a rented one-room apartment and watch her latest video. I watched all her previous videos and found that on that site there was another section where she accepted requests or completed challenges from users. Add this hot sauce to your food tomorrow. Wear this to work, deprive your husband of sex, and so on. I think making please you while you work is her own idea. I don't care about her or what she did to me anymore. And I'm still convinced that she let that bastard have sex with her that Sunday. I also hope that I was right otherwise.
Wow.
No, I did the right thing. Even if she hadn't, what she did was unacceptable. I felt bad when she stood up and showed off her New York pants. And thanks to my ex-cuck who still works there to pay off the loans on my new house, I bought this baby in 5 different colors.
Everything is about the same shit.
I wasn't a cuckold. I didn't know what was happening. Wait, I know what she's doing. She knows that I will watch this video and wants to make me angry.
That's why you can look at like a painting of a red square.
I hear Alice's voice, but I can barely open my eyes.
Something different and get something new out of it, depending on what's been happening in your life and the world around you.
Drinking water.
Only if it's a really deep red square.
I drank too much.
You have to believe the guy who made the red square.
I didn't feel sick, but I don't remember much after the gym.
You know Larry Charles?
He's still down there.
We wrote 2 pilots together years ago.
He's drunk too,
it was
but you look terrible.
So fun.
There's another girl in the room.
I know
her, but I don't know her name.
I remember
when she
going
leaves,
like,
Alice sits down next to me and says, "What were you thinking?"
A red square. I could paint a red square.
Then comes in.
Yeah, but you didn't.
You look upset.
This guy
Are you okay?
did.
No, she's not.
I always
Give
thought
us
that was
10 minutes. I'll take her downstairs. Tell Jeremy to call a taxi for you. You can't drive like that.
Great art, like
Jeremy is the host of this party. I'm waiting here. We hear Hank's loud voice outside the door. A few minutes later, Alice opens the door and tells me to take me home. I still feel dizzy. My body hurts, and I have difficulty walking. When I open my eyes, we are home. I lie in bed and close my eyes. I wake up to the phone ringing. This is Alice.
When I was little, I watched Mr. Rogers, and then when I was in high school,
how could you let this happen?
It was on before school, and I'd have it on, and I just like saw it in a whole new mind-blowing way. This is fucking brilliant. You know, in Sesame Street, it's kind of like how if you experience grief as a child,
did Hank do something after he
you
brought me back?
re-experience it at every stage of development. That's kind of like the same with art or anything.
Don't you remember? Remember what? What have I done? This is even worse.
I also think it's interesting that you and I, neither of us have kids.
My body hurts. Did you have sex with me?
So,
Alice, please don't tell me you had sex with me.
We have to grow up.
You weren't taken advantage of.
This is a relief. I think, than other people.
Wait, I remember something.
Because we're just
I remember fragments of that room in the dark. Wait, I remember biting the pillow. I have almost no memories of pain or pleasure in my head. But you begged him to have sex with you.
This is going to sound really like eye-rolly.
Why don't you tell me before I ask? I can't.
I
don't know who it was. The door was slightly open when I came back to the bathroom, and I heard voices. I looked in and saw someone having sex. More precisely, I could not see the face clearly.
To raise ourselves, to continue to raise ourselves.
We needed to.
2 hours later, you were gone. I found you there.
I mean, the fucking thing about being brought up by narcissists.
I seem to remember something.
I don't think your mom was one.
How can I not remember this?
Dad
What if he gave me illegal substances? You didn't look like you needed any substances to be like that. You've been too excited all night. You told me this. Besides, an hour before, you tried to French kiss me. You whispered to me that you wanted to French kiss me. I don't think you remember that either.
You're just an appendage of theirs.
I just let you kiss me for a second.
Yeah, and
now I think that was pretty hot. We can do it if you still want.
What
but she stopped smiling when
mood
she sees
are
my
they in
face.
when they come
This is not the time
home?
for sarcasm. Are you sure it wasn't Hank?
That's
no,
my
he was downstairs telling people his old dirty jokes.
My night will be.
Exactly.
I know Billy was downstairs with his black friend. Besides, it can't be Martin because I dated him in college, and he can't make a chick feel down there.
To get a sense of self,
why didn't you stop me?
In the midst of narcissistic parents,
there was no point in interfering at this point. I also drank a lot. I didn't think you were that drunk.
I think it's
I remember glimpses of kissing someone and a few other things, but not everything else. I don't remember this guy either. Are you sure it was me? Yes, sorry.
I'm me.
Hank and I got married about a year ago. We dated for over 2 years in college and are still having a great time in our relationship. I have to tell Hank.
And they got to deal with that.
I still don't remember anything.
Because comedy gives you that edge. Eventually, you kind of outsmart them.
Don't do anything stupid until we figure it out first.
They can't do their little.
How will we find him? I'll try to remember who was downstairs and ask the people who left early. Besides, since you mentioned it, we know he's big.
It's great.
The last hour was surreal.
We
tried to make a list of the guys from this party. Alice made several calls and excluded those who had left earlier and those whom Alice had seen downstairs at that time.
She was interested in show business and she'd read
I have a list of possible guys who might have beaten me up last night, but I have no idea who he is. Damn, Alice, he might be telling his friends about me right now.
It's not a surprise that
I'd say that. She looked at me and said,
found my
sorry,
way
that's not what I
into
meant.
getting
And on second
into
thought, I don't
People
think you want anyone to
magazine
learn
or
that.
getting
Because you're married
onto
and Hank is known
TV
for
to
around
see me.
boys.
And then
I think
you
we're looking
don't
at these three
get.
guys.
You
Paul,
don't
Jeremy,
get
and his friend,
it.
whom we didn't know until last night. We only
I
know that Paul
remember
was hanged
calling
because
my
you said his
mom
wife
saying,
bragged about
"Why
it."
don't you
Yes, but let's keep this
call
between
me
us.
after
Jen only
I've
told
been
me.
on TV?"
And what?
And
We
she
have the
goes,
final list. We're stuck
and
with
in
this.
her mind, I think she thought,
without arousing suspicion,
why would
just to
I
see if
care
anyone is acting strange.
or something?
You might remember something or feel like one of them slept with you.
Why do you think I'm in
Are you
show
crazy?
business?
What if they think
I'm
I'm
in
flirting
show
with them?
business,
Yes,
so my
and let me
mom
remind you
will
that one of them
call
knows he
me
had
and
sex
say,
with
"I
Tobal
saw
last
you
night."
on TV."
This time she's not joking. She's a little angry.
My
Since we all live in the same neighborhood,
dad told
we see
me
each
my
other often.
stepmom would
At least 2 or 3 times a week, we get together with friends and our favorite pub and spend time together.
So
I
your
only see
mom
almost
was
all
like
the guests from that party in this pub. I just need to act normal and go there.
She was kind of
like, if I see any of them,
she
I will talk
couldn't. No,
casually,
my dad and my stepmother, anytime I was on TV or
that's all I need to
something,
do.
they always called me.
And I'm sitting in my car parked opposite the pub, thinking to myself how simple my task is. But something is bothering me. I know exactly what. That's what Alice said. Someone out there knows.
She
but I have to
loved
find out what
Rachel
happened.
Maddow.
I have to go there.
Oh,
I entered the pub. Everyone behaves as usual. No one turns their head to look at me.
I was on Rachel
Maddow. It seems to me that someone is looking at me. I'm worried that someone is pointing me out to their friends and telling them how they had sex with me.
I know what Alice mentioned her name. Oh, my mother loves you. And she's like, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Silverman." Oh, it's actually O'Hara. You know, and I'm like, going so far on this very quick appearance.
It's too late.
For my mother, when I needed to talk about other things.
2 hours passed, and neither suspect showed up at the pub.
I was so excited because she would see it. I know she watches visit every night. Didn't hear from her.
Then I see Paul and Jen. They come up to us. Jen begins excitedly telling the girls something about her standards. This is something incredibly interesting. Paul is standing next to me.
Did you see?
Well, Paul,
I saw.
how are you? Not bad. Then his face suddenly becomes serious. He leans towards me and whispers in my ear. Are you okay? I mean, after the party.
I didn't realize your mom was the more difficult one.
Because when he started talking to me like that, I had little doubt that it was him. Not because he
my
gave anything
dad
away.
was in the first half of my life, and my mom kind of was.
Highest probability given our information about its size.
I could paint a heartbreaking story. I could paint a perfect picture.
I even wanted it to be him. Maybe I'd always admired him.
Well, no,
Alice and I were talking about Jen
it's heartbreaking, but it's like that withholding
before I blush even more and start flirting with him. I don't want to say that I want him, but I can't deny it. I hope I didn't give away my thoughts. Why shouldn't I be okay? It would be better if I didn't say this with such a stupid, flirtatious smile.
Sort of like
he looks at me a little puzzled. You were completely drunk and could barely stand on your feet when you left the party.
It was always
did he
sort of
smile
like,
when he said barely standing? If so, was it because he knew he was the cause? Was it him? What size is it? My cheeks are burning again.
It was like, I guess that's okay.
Placing his hand on my shoulder.
You mean instead of a C?
Everything was okay, but Hank helped you. So did he choose to stay away because Hank was there? Is he sorry that I walked so unsteadily? I think I'm starting to stress myself out. No, I'm fine. I mean, I drank a lot, but I wasn't that drunk.
Oh, they should get an award.
Yeah,
I feel his big hand on my lower back. He pulls me a little closer, just enough for me to notice, and whispers. Glad to hear that. Okay, now I'm definitely confused. He clearly did this on purpose. He's trying something. It's like he wants to flirt with me, right next to his wife. I'm not sure if he's doing this because of some past events between us, or if he's just being stupid. And again, for one moment, it excites me like crazy. One of the hottest guys in our group, with his married plus size, wants me. Does he want to have sex with me again, or for the first time? What size is it? I was drunk at the party. That was my excuse. And now, how can I explain that I get turned on thinking about this? Finally, Jen finishes her story and turns to us.
Because
Paul
my mom was
like so that Jen won't notice where she just was. I catch Paul looking at me several times, and he looks at me completely differently than usual, even after Hank arrived. Later that night, Hank shouted loudly, "That's enough! I've spent enough time with you losers." Before finishing my drink with one gulp, grabbed me by the hand and laughing, dragged me to the exit. They all laughed when we left, except Paul. As I followed Hank, he held my hand for a moment, slowly releasing it as I walked away. No one in this crowd seemed to notice this, but I turned to him and saw that he was looking at me with lust in his eyes.
And that if she just stopped eating, maybe
or does he want more from me? Hank tells me how he dealt with his friend that morning in a squash game, and I smile and act like I care. I'm trying to resolve my confusion. There are two possible reasons for what happened tonight. The first reason is obvious. He was the one who had sex with me last night. He wants to have sex with me again. I feel a tingling sensation in my body. I don't know if I can say no if he asks me if that's the case. The other reason is not easy to understand. Yes, he wants to sleep with me. But why? Did it just occur to him that he wanted me? Was I unconsciously sending him the message that I was in a flirty mood? Both could be right, and it's natural for me to feel flattered by that. I don't even blame myself for being turned on by the idea. Don't get me wrong. I feel guilty about what happened, and I love Hank. I never want to hurt him, and I'm really sorry for my stupid mistake. I'm still thinking about telling him, but it's impossible to tell him if I don't know who the guy is. Wait, there is another option. What if the guy who had sex last night told others about it? What if Paul had heard or witnessed what happened? What if he just wanted to try me out, thinking I was on the market? I feel terrible right now. I hope that's not the case.
Lose
I hope it
his
was Paul who had sex with me. The next day we had lunch with Alice. I told her what happened, and she couldn't understand it either. She just told me to be careful what I do. I think she was afraid that during the investigation I would end up in bed with Paul. Thoughts like these turn me on, so she was right to be worried. 2 days later, I'm having lunch with friends from work. I'll be in the pub with Alice this afternoon for our mission. Right after we asked for the check, I saw Jeremy eating lunch alone and sitting at the bar. I apologized, dropping some money on the table and walking towards him. Hey, Jeremy.
My mom was lazy.
He closes his mouth until he chews what's in it. What are you doing here? His place of work is not in this area.
I'm going to now be
lazy. So I'm spending my time here.
And it's a real hang-up for me now.
He's not acting the least bit strange. I want to make sure.
I
put my hand on his shoulder.
Yeah,
I can't believe how crazy it was.
I
mean, your party. I guess I drank too much.
Do a whole lot of nothing any second I can, but then I'll have like immense
several idiots puked in the house.
Guilt around it, and then I'll project that onto my partner, Rory, and he's like, I don't think you're lazy. I think you're the least lazy person I've ever met. Get that out of your... That's you. That's your thing, you know?
I can't believe I asked that.
I still have that thing where it's like...
He will think that I am an overweight girl, easy for you.
My dad's going to see I'm watching TV.
Alice told me I tried to kiss her and stuff like that. I need to stop talking. Oh, I saw it. It was hot. You were surrounded by a crowd. It's a good thing Hank missed it, because I think several attempts to grope your ass took place in the chaos.
It's wired in there. Your mom's Jewish, right?
I drink too much. You know what I mean.
It's so funny because my memory
I'm trying to play it cool considering I was naughty and crazy that night. He may have heard something and can express it. He just smiles.
I was like, you know, I met her husband.
Oh, this.
And I met her because I stayed at
the house. Kiss and tell. A real gentleman.
And I met your dad too.
I know I'm overexerting myself, but there's still a chance I'll be that unlucky girl. Jeremy is not the kind of person I would love to waste my novel on. What do you think?
But I remembered, like,
this is... Stop. He doesn't ask how I feel. He apparently wants to know my opinion. Confidence. That's what a girl wants to see. Great. I understand that I don't want to know if it was him. I like anonymous bastard better than him. Besides, he doesn't even see me as a woman. Anyway, the girls are waiting for me by...
Pale skin, blue eyes.
There's not a single trait in him that could arouse desire in me. I'll ask Alice to find out about his friend. I kept Hank at a distance for a few days in case he felt something strange. I was worried. I had heard different stories about how sensations can change, but I had never encountered this in real life. Perhaps
like, I don't know what that is.
It's a little different.
I still felt a little discomfort even after a couple of days after that party. He asked if everything was okay, probably because he noticed that I was a little thoughtful.
Yeah,
but soon I managed to hide my worries. Since I have no memory of this sex, I didn't compare it to what Hank and I had. We started making love again as usual, and it was normal. And by okay, I don't mean mediocre. I said fine, because there were no problems or missing feelings. I was just wondering how I felt that night, and it affected my passion during sex a little. Just a little, as if something was missing, something I didn't even know. Okay, the only time I thought about Paul was during sex with Hank. It was a hot moment, even if it was wrong. I did something bad, dirty, and obscene. Isn't this what hot nights are made of? It's quite normal to find it exciting,
just
and probably miss it in our relationship.
Calls
Hank is a good lover, but none of those terms apply to our sex. Apart from my little curiosity, like Jewish. I was expecting a call from Alice these days because she said that she would try to find out something about Jeremy's friend. Finally, I see her name on the phone screen. She quickly begins to tell what happened. She saw Jeremy and asked him, "You had a funny friend. What was his name?" Jeremy's response was interesting.
She always said,
"He's not funny at all. Unless you're talking about how he stays calm during his dirty talk, he'll be with us at the pub tonight."
How we were different.
I'm silent because I'm trying to analyze this brief description of the guy. Alice says, "We're at a dead end."
Like Susie,
why?
too.
If he says obscenities, maybe that's why he caught my attention.
I love hearing you say Susie.
But even so, he said he was an expressionless guy.
How
will you know if he is acting
Susie to
strange,
me,
or if
and
this
she
is
was
his normal
Susie to
behavior?
you, but now she's like
Let's see.
Rabbi Susan. So she always says when someone calls her Susie, she knows that they know me. They know her from my podcast.
If someone wants to gossip, they will talk about me while looking at him.
But it's interesting if I'm just going to stereotype.
I ruined everything. I realize it. Don't let my calm appearance fool you.
We weren't close friends, but she wasn't that Jewy.
I just want to tell Hank what happened before he hears it from someone else.
And if I really think of the
I still don't think it's a good idea.
I don't know.
If it was
I know
Paul, he's married
Laura.
and wouldn't spread the
Laura's
word.
like the
Unless
most
he's stupid, of
aggressively
course.
Jewish.
If we eliminate Jeremy,
and
we're left
you,
with
I
Lucas.
think.
Tonight, we'll figure something out. And then there's the Hank factor. I don't think anyone would want to be at his gun point. Whoever it is must feel lucky to have received such a gift.
No, I know, but we're Jews.
I mean, a lot of like, I don't like being someone's lucky gains that night, especially bearing all the risks and getting no pleasure in return. But I can't do anything about it. Perhaps you were right. Let's look at this guy and talk later.
I grew up with no Jews, so
standing next to Jeremy and his friends.
My
I keep an eye on
experience
them,
of
especially this guy named Lucas.
people knowing I was
From time to
Jewish,
time, he
I'd be
looks at
like,
me.
"Oh
He
yeah,
smiled at me a couple of times.
I'm Jewish,
at
but
first I thought it was a hint, but probably any guy would do that if he noticed that I was staring
I
at
was
him.
like
Perhaps he thinks that I
immediately
admire him and cannot take my eyes off him. I feel Alice grab my hand and drag me towards them. It's time to find out everything. Jeremy and I start talking, and Lucas keeps looking at me. When he starts grinning with a sort of sly expression, Alice and I exchange a glance. We both think it might be him. Very similar to that. This is not how you behave with someone you just met. A few minutes later, I come up to him and say, "Why are you smiling like that?" For no reason. But I can tell you were pretty wild at that party. Well, so what did I do? Trying to look playful and calm at the same time. If he's not the one, he'll probably think I'm flirting with him.
New York.
Don't you remember?
He's
I remember
like
a lot. I did so much there. Just wondering what exactly you mean. If you remember, you wouldn't ask. He smiles again.
He's got all the attributes.
I still can't be sure, but what he said and the way he said it clearly hints at something wrong. He slapped me. Do you remember why?
John Benjamin.
I don't remember slapping anyone. But if this is true, chances are he's the wrong guy. I don't remember this.
Boston and
Brockton. What else happened then? Come on, don't be a bore. What have you done to deserve this? Why tell me?
I just heard from John Benjamin for the first time in 6 years.
Don't you remember anything? Lucas, I remember a lot, but I don't remember the slap in your face.
He's so funny.
Or I'll ask Jeremy. He probably knows too. No one knows. Just you and me. Although, considering that you then drank yourself into unconsciousness, only me. He laughs to annoy me, and he succeeds. Seeing my expression, he continues more seriously. I know what you did at that party. And he looks intently into my eyes with some kind of intense gaze. This looks like a threat or the beginning of blackmail. Maybe he's just joking, but I don't find it funny at all. The longer I remain silent, the more serious his expression becomes, as if he had discovered something unexpected. Then I'll have to kill you. Shall we go to the toilet, please? Finally, I interrupt this unpleasant duel of glances with a joke. Oh, with pleasure. Please lead. So now he openly flirts with me, while my husband is somewhere nearby. What did I expect after I started flirting, or after she allowed herself? Well, you get the idea. At that party, while her husband was nearby,
like Susie, I
don't need new reasons for gossip. So isn't it too late for that?
I don't know the oldest one.
Oh no, it's definitely him. He slept with me, and now he teases me.
Well, who's the
Tell me
one
quickly, what happened then? I can't.
Jodine.
But I can say it was hot. That's it. This is definitely him. What does he mean by not here? Oh, he wants a sequel. Give me at least a hint. If he's the one, he's probably making fun of me, seeing that I don't remember anything. I touched your ass in the kitchen. That's how it all started. Has it started? And it's over. I hope. The next step apparently was a slap in the face. See, it means you deserve it. I said, it has begun.
But like
you didn't
when
hit
all
me
this
then.
stuff
And again,
is
that wide
going
grin on his face.
down,
What? I told you so. I can't tell you here. Maybe later.
How does the rabbis influence? You talk a little bit about it in the show.
I continued to interrogate him, but he continued to play with me. That night, I never found out anything. I didn't see him for the next few days. That smirk, the way he spoke, and the thought that he was the guy who had me upstairs made me both anxious and very excited. He was the bad guy, which made the whole situation even more poignant. I caught myself thinking about him several times. Very indecent thoughts. In the same room at the party. We're in that pub again. All suspects are there. Jeremy is in his own world, and I don't consider him a suspect anymore. Paul came up to me, and the same touching and whispering began, but on a different topic. He made me laugh several times. His hand wandered over my body above the waist. I can't explain how much this turned me on. Then I saw Lucas waving at me. I took a detour when I bought a new drink, and now I'm next to him. Are we there yet? He grins when he asks this.
Like at 2 a.m.
I mean, how many glasses did you drink?
On the
I would
11th,
like to relive this moment again.
Her birthday,
since I have no idea about that moment, I cannot comment on it. If you insist, I can tell you, but on my terms. What terms are you talking about?
And he's literally,
I can tell it in role play. I tell and you tell. This way you will know what happened and I will relive it.
I hope it is.
Are you a pervert? What kind of proposal is this? But you've already done all this. What difference does it make? I was drunk. I mean, if I tell you and you don't like it, how would that be any different than doing it again? Is he trying to have sex with me again? Depends on.
This is the end.
What really happened? Yes, and you can stop where it's too much for you. Isn't that right? But then I won't be able to learn the rest if you play your game. Maybe in that case, I'll tell you later.
It's
so,
very our family.
He's clearly planning to take advantage of me, and part of me wants to play this game, even if the risk is too high. He looks at my face, probably trying to figure out what I'm thinking. Just as I was about to say, no, he stood up from the high stool.
I do that with my dad all the time.
I'll go to the toilet. Find me there. I'll tell you what happened next. Maybe it will happen again.
Remember me still?
Oh, he winks at me after these words. What is he thinking? Am I stupid? Will I play this game with him? Here, my husband is standing a few feet away. I can't believe it. He's leaving. What kind of nonsense is this? I won't go there. I didn't do anything important in the kitchen. Did I do it? I hold Alice's hand and tell her the conversation. You have to learn this. You know, guys, I didn't see you in the kitchen. You are a girl of easy virtue. She smiles and then pushes me. I stop and say, what if he's making this up? What if he attacks me? Are you crazy? Here, don't worry. I'll follow you and wait outside. just screaming if he tries anything, and pushes me. When I'm there, he's leaning against the wall in front of the men's door. He sees me and goes into the toilet. I look around and follow him, seeing Alice's face around the corner.
I made a mixtape for my dad of...
No, tell me now. Don't worry, I won't do anything.
All the hits from like the summer he was 17 and I played them for him.
I walk in
he
and he closes the door.
Every word to every song.
He wasn't even certain confidence about him, aside from his cool demeanor that makes him attractive. Okay, like I said, I only have one condition. You will live this moment again. Exactly.
You
I will tell you, and you will do
remember
it. You will continue to learn as long as you do it.
17, maybe
Don't worry,
12.
I'm not crazy. I won't try anything.
You're going to remember
He grins.
every word
I'm
to
not doing
every
anything.
hit song.
What does this all mean? This makes me very
You know?
uncomfortable.
Yeah. I tried to bring that up on my old man. He definitely remembers that stuff.
I need to hear what he has to say.
Because
Turn around, look at the door.
Wired into you,
I stand motionless for a few seconds, then turn around.
This
is an alarming situation. I know it's stupid to play along, but his hand is on my ass. He starts grabbing and groping my ass. What nerve? As I'm about to turn back, he starts talking. At first you didn't turn around. You just turned your head and looked at me.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched
I turned my head and looked at him. You didn't look that angry.
The credits, yeah, that was funny.
I'm leaving.
It was the actual commercial.
Oh, he's annoying. To hell with all this, okay? I look at him again, rolling my eyes. I told you, I just want to relive this moment. This doesn't help. Let's start from the beginning. Let's look at the door. It's stupid and funny, I know, but I can't say it's not intriguing. It's not like I like being broke or anything, but the naughtiness of it all is very exciting.
Going out
I look at the door and he grabs my ass again. I turn my head back and look at him shyly, unintentionally. He likes the way I look this time, I can tell. Then he turned around and grabbed my crotch.
But
what kind of trick is this? Do you
when
think
I
I'm
was
an idiot?
working with
I'm serious.
the editor,
What you did that night, it was incredible. I couldn't believe my eyes. You acted so confident, and I just lost my head. I expected you to push me away or laugh in my face, but you remained so calm. Don't worry, everything was within acceptable limits. Aren't you curious to hear the continuation? You've been in similar situations before, right? I don't know what I want more. To hear every detail or to let the moment speak for itself.
So
in any case, after what happened at the party, repeating it now does not seem impossible. Of course,
were you just primarily working out when I take a step forward,
he suddenly stops me.
Pieces at Largo?
You're in a hurry. Let's start over. I want this moment to end. Go back. It makes me feel too uncomfortable, and I get too excited.
Yeah, I mean, it was so raw. Like I have to admit, I can't remember coming straight to Largo from
bursts out from me, and everything starts all over again. He touches me carefully. His movement's confident but restrained. I turn my head and catch his gaze. There is something wild and bewitching about him. A moment, and our eyes meet again. His expression changes, as if he is reading my thoughts. We are silent, but there is tension between us. I don't move, letting the moment continue. A light sigh escapes my lips, and I close my eyes, surrendering to this feeling for a second. When I finally look at it again, everything becomes crystal clear. Something has changed between us, but neither of us dares to take the first step. Instead, we are frozen in this fragile intimacy, where every movement and every glance means much more than words. I feel my heart start beating faster, but I don't dare to upset this delicate balance. Everything remains unsaid, but it makes the moment even more intense and meaningful. I look at him, he looks at me. He is very confident and has an evil smile on his face. He doesn't speak. I don't take my hand away. I catch myself thinking that my actions have gone too far. The atmosphere is tense, and every movement seems to be riddled with tension. His look, his voice, all seem to blur the boundaries I have so desperately tried to maintain. Then, he says, interrupting my thoughts, "You reached out to me and started kissing me." I'm not sure if he made it up or if he's just teasing me with his words, but his voice sounds like he's talking about something that could very well happen. My heart is pounding, my thoughts are confused. I feel everything inside me screaming that it's time to stop. The image of Hank flashes before my eyes, and a sense of guilt creeps into my thoughts. But the desire does not disappear. It pulsates somewhere deep inside. I don't know how long we stand like this, surrounded by this silent tension, but one thing is clear, I need to leave, right now. However, my feet feel glued to the floor, and the air between us seems thick and heavy. Finally, I take a deep breath, gather my will, and take a step back. I'm sorry, I whisper, avoiding his gaze. I need to get out of this room before the boundaries I try so desperately to maintain completely crumble. I retreat, but he grabs my hands, pulls me to him, and does not let me leave. His gaze is full of determination, and I feel the warmth emanating from his body. He continues to kiss me with such force that my thoughts get confused. I try to resist, but my hands treacherously slide down his clothes. He stops, looks at me, and says hoarsely, "If you want, you can try." These words are stuck in my head. I shouldn't do that. I can't. Hank is waiting for me. But instead of answering, I allow myself to succumb to the moment. We kiss again, and his breathing becomes ragged. Suddenly, he pulls away, buttons his clothes, and gives me an appraising look. I feel my heart beating wildly. He hands me a piece of napkin and says with a wry smile, "If you need some time, I'll wait." I accept the napkin, dry my hands, and quietly answer. I think it was more than just a moment. Silence hangs between us, filled with heavy breathing and unspoken words.
I knew
she smiles again. This is funny. I mean, you don't remember anything.
Awful,
there's always
but
something
I didn't
more.
really
You
know
slapped me
about
too
the
soon.
extent
If you
of
want,
the
I can
abuse
tell you another
until I was
fantasy,
a little
and we
older.
can play that too.
Laura told me, and I remember
Are you
being
saying that you made it
so
up?
angry
No,
at her
but who knows how much of it
because
actually happened that night,
I
and
couldn't
how much remains
now
untold.
unknow
We'll talk about
this.
it next time.
Right. Yeah,
Still smiling, pulling on his
And,
pants. I feel
but
used.
of
I'm used to
course
it. I know this, but if he was lying, I allowed him to use me like that for no reason. I still can't get rid of this strange feeling, mixture of shame, anger, and misunderstanding. Everything was vague, as if in a fog. Party, loud music, bright lights, and we are too close to each other. Moments flash in my memory and fits and starts. A look, a daring kiss, my harshness, and then darkness.
How my mom didn't see me all Jewish
he would
is
understand
like
that I don't remember all the
she
details.
comes from
What if he
that
took advantage of the
generation
situation?
where it's
Or is
like
this just my own guesses,
her
lost in an
mother
alcoholic haze?
was an
Everything inside me is
immigrant
seething
from
with contradictions.
Poland.
He annoys me, infuriates me with his self-confidence, but at the same time, there is something in him that does not allow me to get him out of my head. Perhaps this is what makes me angry the most. I step out of the cramped space, taking a deep breath of air.
I mean, he was
Memories are still
wonderful,
confused, and the truth
but
slips
it
through your
was,
fingers.
and it was.
Maybe someday
He
I will
said
put
it was
pieces
the
together into a whole
farthest
picture.
he
But for
was
now, all that
able to
remains is
go
uncertainty
back
and his damn piercing
of a
gaze.
Jew.
Alice sees me coming out
said
and
that to
quickly
me,
leaves
too.
so that he
Did he
doesn't notice her.
really?
She
Yeah.
asks me what happened, and all I can
Maybe
say
you were
is
after me.
I couldn't learn,
He
but he
said,
definitely would have done it if I had
all
let
the
him
way
that night.
back
I don't know.
from,
She tried to find out more details until we left, and I finally told her that he kissed me there just to
Russia, Belarus.
That night, I was more assertive with Hank than usual. I wanted something bold, candid, but I couldn't get what I really needed from him. Neither our proximity nor his trust helped to fill this gap. It was not only his body, which had so recently fascinated me, nor his impudent remarks that stirred my imagination.
And then he told
the thing was that he couldn't give me the feeling I was looking for, the feeling that I was crossing the line. In the following months, Alice convinced me that my marriage was healthy, since no one had spoken about that night since. Since we had no way of knowing who mated with me that night, and since the risk of Hank finding out was reduced, we decided to keep it to ourselves. But after that night in the booth, Lucas couldn't get it out of his mind. He would corner me when Hank wasn't around. I tried to stay away from him for weeks,
it was ultimately very boring because it was.
Last week, I had a hard time saying no to Lucas when he wanted to have sex with me in that booth.
I gave him pleasure. It was just like they signed censors. I still can't ask him because I don't want anyone to know about it. All their jobs are just peddler,
If I tell the wrong guy about it, he can ask around and everyone can find out. It's strange that he doesn't tell me that he had sex with me.
All through my dad, yeah.
Hank still doesn't know anything, and I'm so sorry. Lucas knows how his wife follows him to the toilet to please him while he is also in the pub. And for all I know, Lucas or anyone else in that pub knows that he's already had sex with his wife. I hate putting him on a stage where he's happily telling his jokes. I've already passed the point when I blame everything on alcohol, so now I can't tell him anything anymore. I hope he never finds out. I still love him, but I can't stop wanting other things. Not anymore. It seems that I have crossed some boundaries and gained the freedom to do what I want. And now, in the pub, I'm standing next to Hank, and Paul acts as if there are no boundaries between us.
We're Russian
His touches become more and more content, and I become more and more lost in my own thoughts.
But the German Jews were
enough to earn my attention in the morning.
That's why they were, they were.
I'm still trying to resist the idea of sleeping with one of them, but it seems like it's only a matter of time. There is no point in resisting anymore. If I had only known who it was that night, perhaps I would not have been so ashamed to spread my legs again.
My family were rich in Germany, and they went right into their real big house and murdered them. Like,
and the old fat jokes are back on the agenda for the first time in several years.
That's
right. They were roommates at university, and Arnie always loved to tease Todd in any way he could. Despite this, they were still kind of best friends, but Todd never liked that stupid talk. He recently lost 4 or 5 kilograms, which is why these jokes started. But the jokes didn't stop. Every time he ate too much, every time he missed a workout, they came back. Todd wasn't sure what exactly was bothering Arnie. Either he didn't like going to the gym alone, or it was some kind of undying resentment. Todd was smarter, taller, and his life was always more balanced. He had a lot of friends, but he never thought that Arnie had any problems with it. I'm married, I don't need abs, you shallow bastard. Hey, Hilda interrupted him. There are ladies here,
I think it was the
Hilda
same
was Todd's first girlfriend, whom he dated during his final year at university, and they married a year later. She was damn good back then, and not much has changed in 4 years. Her brown hair, green eyes, and gentle beauty struck Todd at first sight. Both Todd and Arnie thought she was attractive even before they met her. When they managed to talk to her, they realized that she was even hotter than she seemed at first glance. Arnie just wanted to get her into bed with no further intentions, but Todd fell in love with her just by listening to her talk. Hilda liked his sincere attention, and they began dating. For Arnie, this was not a problem. He was already hunting for another girl, so this couldn't be the reason for all these jokes. It was most likely his reluctance to grow up. Arnie changed girls every month, but calmed down when he met Dana at a business meeting. They married a year after Todd and Hilda. She was an interesting woman. Her figure was perfect, but Todd always thought her face was too angular and her demeanor too cold. He never understood why Arnie married her. She was attractive with dark hair and blue eyes, but not warm enough to be loved.
They found a story
he didn't like the way she pronounced his name. It sounded like a broken accent, and he knew she was doing it on purpose, calling him Toad. Now that they were both married, their Sunday brunches at the lake club had become a habit. This was where most of their friends from university gathered. It's good that Hilda and Dana got along with each other. They even had girls' nights once a month. The only annoying thing was Arnie's sarcastic jokes about Todd, especially in the presence of Hilda. But Todd didn't think much of it. As Todd passed the plate of butter to Arnie, looking at his arrogant grin, they heard Matt's voice. There you are. Can I take the guys for a moment, ladies? Matt motioned for them to follow him. He had news. They had a secret. It started 2 years ago. Some guys from their course and a few others, invited and vetted, formed a circle of confidants. It was not a club or a group with a leader or a name. It was a company of more than 40 people, all men. They communicated in person or called each other to inform others where the next meeting would be held. 3 or 4 organizers rented a club or restaurant every 2 months, made sure that no casual visitors got inside, and organized these meetings. At first, everything was quite simple, but over time, the meetings became more and more sophisticated. They recently introduced dress codes and masks. A few months ago, the theme was medieval style. This party was one of the best. Arnie and Todd always went there together. The wives knew it as a caveman man's night, where they could drink until the early hours, swear and curse each other. Anyway, the boys excused themselves and followed Matt. Okay, this time we will have a big place. It used to be a small theater, but it was sold, and next month they begin reconstruction, turning it into some kind of club. So they even gave us permission to tear down some walls. They put a cross on it, which means they can be demolished. It'll be super fun. Is it good that the place is big? Arnie asked. He thought he would be more effective with escorts in a crowded place. Plus, he liked to see what others were doing. He also wanted others to see him in action. He liked to show off. But Todd preferred to be alone with the girls. The big place was good for him. Don't worry, you're not the only perverted one. We have more lit area so you guys can engage with the girls while talking to each other there. We decent people can use the rest of the building for ourselves while you're there. It would be nice to focus on the girl, knowing that no one is looking at my ass. Todd nodded seriously, and Arnie smiled, thinking it was a compliment to him. Dress code or theme? Has it already been decided? Todd was really into it. At first he doubted, but in this way he compensated for his innocent years at the university.
Well, yeah, that's why like Laura has Asian features.
Those people's clothes were just funny. Todd wanted to impress the accompanying girls. For him, it was something like a date. Matt said, "Who cares? Girls were hot back then."
I was always told,
Todd became inspired in an instant. Oh, I already know how to dress. Arnie was very happy. They both looked at him, waiting for details. Tony Manero, who? Oh, come on, Travolta's Frank's Saturday Night Man, posing like him.
I know, because
they both smiled and nodded, not sure if they had watched the movie,
95,
but they definitely knew the pose.
Gates
Next Saturday, I'll give you the exact address on Thursday. They returned to their table, discussing Matt's non-existent basketball skills, mocking him. How can he still challenge us?
What does that mean? Like just
let alone see
a prisoner?
Thanks to me, please. Arnie was still teasing Todd. They were good at it. They knew how to keep the girls in the dark. Hilda looked at them a little disapprovingly. Then she looked at Dana, seeing her smile. She smiled too. The guys were still arguing about which of them was better at basketball, missing the brief blush on the girls' faces. On Thursday, Matt called Todd and gave him the address. Okay, I'll tell him. Will that red-haired one come back? The one from the medieval event? Which redhead? Man, there were 50 girls that night.
It was very sweet.
But no, we found another guy who asked for less. This might be our best event yet. We have 52 guys and 60 girls coming. Okay. Anyway, I'll tell Arnie he wished the redhead would come back. Arnie picked him up that night, and they stopped at a gas station to change clothes. Todd had an orange-brown jacket, a white shirt with flowers, and dark brown bell-bottom pants. Arnie kept his promise and put on a white suit and white vest and a black shirt. Todd was surprised how quickly he managed to style his hair.
Had older friends.
Todd put on his big colored glasses and said, "When you are." They cheered as they walked toward the building from the parking lot. The guys did a good job. They dimmed the outside lighting and made it look like it was the entrance to a disco. They walked in, and the music, the disco ball, everyone they saw inside gave off a 70s vibe. I can already feel. Todd noticed that Arnie had already left. He entertained some of the accompanying girls with old-fashioned dance moves from the movie. He looked around to see the situation. As Matt said, there were 2 lounge areas with soft sofas throughout. The hall was dimly lit, and there were many shady places with similar sofas in the corners. Having found his place, he decided to find a girl. He took himself a drink and began to walk around the room. Most of the girls wore miniskirts and high boots. Many had fancy hairstyles for hats, and of course hot masks. They all looked attractive. Since he didn't see a single girl he didn't want to start with, he didn't want to rush. He chatted with a few of them, grabbed another drink, and watched as the guys picked up the girls one by one. He looked at the red-haired girl. Her figure in those clothes was incredible. Just as he was thinking about approaching her, Arnie walked out of the lounge without pants or underwear. He showed off in front of the girls. Everyone around watched as his groin swayed between his legs. He walked up to the red-haired beauty and took her hand to lead her to the lounge. The girl hesitated for a second.
They did their wedding party and everything there.
Arnie thought she was shy.
Because it's in Jersey.
Some of the girls were new.
And when we put that together, he was like, "Oh my God, I need the pictures." And he's using them in his one-man show.
Yeah, he's got his one-man show.
The guys were tearing down one of the walls.
Yeah, but he used one of my parents' wedding pictures.
He turned around and saw a
to show the
into his eyes. She should have been standing right behind him. She
And he knew like the people that were working there. He could say, "Oh, that's my uncle."
And apparently this escort girl saw him and found him attractive. She chose him. He liked
that nice
connection. Hi, I'm Todd, he said, since she found him attractive. She was going to play some flirting games, so he wouldn't feel like she was just having sex with him for money. It was better this way, without thinking about whether this was a normal task for an escort girl or not. But he remembered that it was not a good idea to give his name in such a place, especially after so much effort was put into keeping everything confidential. But she didn't answer. Instead, she took his hand and led him to a dark corner, hidden from prying eyes. There was an old, soft sofa there on which she sat him. The atmosphere was filled with mystery and electric tension. She approached him, their breath mingled, and their gaze spoke more than any words. The moments dragged on forever, every gesture filled with promise. He felt the heat building between them, and every movement seemed like a rehearsed dance. There were muffled sounds in the next corner. Arnie, apparently, had also found a way to spend time in good company. His smug smile and self-confidence were clearly not in vain today. Returning to his feelings, he completely surrendered to this moment, a world where there were only the two of them, where reality receded into the background, leaving only sensations and a deep connection that could not be expressed in words. The girl on Todd's lap giggled. She must have heard the sound too. There was a special atmosphere in the room, something between lightness and tension. She leaned closer to him, their eyes met, and for a moment time stood still. Her fingers slid lightly through his hair, forcing him to look into her eyes. She smiled, her gaze filled with playful confidence. Their breaths mingled as she moved closer to his ear and whispered something almost unintelligible that sent goosebumps across his skin. Todd could feel their energy synchronizing, every little thing a glance, a gesture, a touch felt meaningful. He closed his eyes, enjoying this moment, letting his emotions wash over him. When it was all over, she lightly ran her fingers over his cheek, leaving a slight trace of her warmth as a keepsake. Then, without saying a word, the girl rose and disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind a feeling of something unspoken, but very important.
People have all sorts of opinions on it, but yeah, he did.
Felt his heart still pounding in his chest. Her scent was in the air, and the memory of what happened would remain with him for a long time.
I really liked it.
Dana, is this possible? It must be a coincidence. Again, he gave this girl his name, and she could say it like that, especially at that moment. He could hear it that way. If so, what does it mean? Did he have an unconscious desire for Dana? Or was there something about that girl that reminded him of her? She was about the same height, her figure could be similar to hers. She did have this bony facial structure from what he could see. He stood up to straighten his clothes. He headed towards Arnie's place as she walked in the direction she was leaving.
I'm hearing every fourth word pretty much.
Anything, if it was Dana, her husband was having sex with some escort girl,
no, it's just like,
knowing that his wife was having sex with Todd.
I can't fucking hear.
He then began to defend himself, thinking that he did not know who she was and was not involved in the process of choosing this couple. He timidly walked a few steps, thinking that Arnie was already done with this girl.
And then he got really pissed because I wasn't listening to him, and I had,
this could mean that he asked him about his wife right after he had sex with her.
I can't hear well, so if you want to tell me something, I need to.
He heard the girl's moans again, followed by Arnie's voice. Can't get enough. Show off faster. Todd thought when Arnie said, "You should have preferred the living room so you could see and admire what you worship like that."
Rory, what?
Idiot. Todd thought, changing direction, making sure that the dark-haired girl was not there. He spent more than half an hour checking every girl dressed or not, but she was nowhere to be found. This made him even more awkward. No escort would leave so early. His anxious mood did not allow him to have another girl. He spent his time drinking. This time, Arnie dragged 2 more girls into the living room. On the way home, he acted tired. Arnie said, "I think that was the best thing. I got 4 girls into bed tonight, and you, after the first time I was a little tired. I probably drank more than I should have."
I've tracked your boyfriend over the years, and
I made these girls my bitches. They couldn't get enough.
Another one.
Yeah, that's the opposite of the attitude we expect from the girl we think to do.
And then you went out with the British guy.
How many sex service girls have you seen moaning like that? And moaning means pleasure, right?
Different direction. Although I will say his accent
Arnie annoyed Todd with such words.
He wanted this girl to be Dana. I have no problem with tonight. It's British, but it kind of is.
She practically almost killed me. I'm satisfied both physically and mentally. She made me her man tonight. Good thing they don't get paid to make you feel that way.
It just sounds fancy.
They changed to the same gas station, and Arnie dropped him off. The next morning, Hilda woke Todd up. We're going to be late for brunch. He had no idea what happened that night, and even if he was pretty sure he was an idiot for thinking like that at night, the guilt was there. These were girls from sexual services who were brought by some person who even Todd and Arnie did not know. Their meeting was secret, and all these facts aside, why did Dana choose him for sex, even if she managed to sneak into these girls for sexual services? There was no logic in this. There was a faint feeling that it was her, just because Todd had been annoying him so much lately, and because it felt good to have sex with his snobbish wife while showing her the code. But he knew that he had not shown her anything. She had shown it to someone else. She practically used him, almost killed him on this sofa, and even if he didn't want to admit it, he had witnessed her husband pleasuring a girl from sexual services several times. So it's all nonsense. He decided to forget about nod and act as normal. As they sat at the table as usual, Arnie said, I guess we don't have much of an appetite today. I looked at Tom. He really hadn't eaten much that day. He still wasn't in the mood. So you decided to get in shape, huh? I thought a few pounds didn't matter when you were married. He taunted him, probably trying to anger him by reminding him of this the night before.
It's such a warm feeling.
He looked at Hilda and saw that she was looking around, not interested in this conversation. When he looked at Dana, she was looking at her plate strangely.
Maybe we talk every few years,
she then looked at him briefly and blushed a little.
But
This was not normal.
we really
Something was happening. She touched Hilda's hand and said, "Take me to the toilet, please." After the girls left, Arnie was looking at his phone and Todd was thinking, "Could this be true? Is it possible for Dana to come have sex with him?" He was flattered by the thought, at least for a second.
Did you also
then he felt a little guilty looking at Arnie. But his mood worsened when he thought about Hilda. He loved her very much. He had been naughty for the last 2 years, but they were girls of easy virtue. They didn't mean anything. And Dana, she was her friend. It was a big deal.
She reached out to me at some point not long ago, and I was like,
found out about this, he would have no way to save his marriage. When the girls returned, he smiled and acted normal. He couldn't help but look at Hilda and Dana from time to time. He checked that everything was under control. Hilda was acting a little distant at the moment, and he wondered what they were talking about when they left. Dana wouldn't say that to her, even if it were her. One day, he noticed Dana looking at him, and she looked away when he did. She had an annoyingly thin smile on her face, even when she looked away. Then he looked at Hilda.
She was going to be an actress,
Did she know anything? Was she trying to figure everything out? They didn't talk much that day. They had overnight that Monday, and Todd lost a lot to Arnie. He couldn't stop teasing him. Can you bet on anything else, Todd? Maybe your happy hour is starting. He hated it at that moment. He had been lucky all night and had nothing to brag about. He decided to assume that he had sex with Dana that night. He wanted it to be true. No, I still feel like a winner, he said confidently. Consider this money as payment for Dana's pussy. He thought to make himself feel better. Arnie picked them up that Sunday. As usual, they were back at the club. This time Todd didn't feel guilty. He liked the thought and had felt good for the last 2 days thinking that way. This time he didn't sit there timidly. He had a smirk on his face as he looked at Dana. Noticing this, she turned her head and looked at Hilda. They looked at each other and both blushed, hiding their smiles. He wanted to ask them, but couldn't.
And then
what was he going to ask? Does Hilda know? Or was it you that night? He couldn't. He lost his happy mood. All this happened in a matter of seconds. Then he looked at Arnie.
I'm sitting next to Jessica, and Jessica's sitting next to Allison's mother, Carol. And I hear him turn to her and
he thought his eyes shone with lust for his wife Hilda. The same way Todd felt about Dana when he looked at her. It was a ridiculous thought. It was impossible. He looked at the girls. They were still exchanging those glances. And then Hilda looked at Arnie.
To bow at the end, she didn't like have a robe on. She just came out naked, you know, and
Dana then turned to Arnie and gave him the same look. Everything was falling apart in Todd's head.
Pointing
out
the band.
He couldn't understand what was happening, but he knew something was wrong. Looking at Arnie, he grinned confidently. He stopped looking at the girls and smiling when he noticed Todd looking at him. There was something different. He didn't mock anything that day. Something happened. After that poker night, he wasn't like that night either. Then Todd remembered that night. No, that was impossible. It couldn't be her. A few feet away, he was moaning, grunting, gasping,
he
moaning.
goes, "You're one of the senior citizens."
In Dana's case, she came to him and directed him towards sex, to the area where her husband was. But in Arnie's case, he walked out of the living room and picked her out of 5 or 6 girls. This couldn't have been planned. It wasn't her. But what's the look on Hilda's face? He didn't have a chance to ask any of these people what was going on. If it weren't for Dana, he would have confessed to their plans once every 2 months. Regardless of Dana's situation, he couldn't ask Arnie. He would kill him if he found out that he had sex with Dana. Unless he knew that it was Hilda moaning beneath him that night. When did he learn if that was the case? If he didn't suspect that night, how could he know it after that? Damn, even the thought made him feel sick.
No idea who anybody is anymore.
She could find out what the boys were doing. They might decide to punish the boys. He couldn't ask her about this situation. What if it wasn't her? He will lose everything. What if it was her? What if that was the girl's plan that night to take revenge? Did he check with Arnie about this? He didn't want to remember the moment when they both had sex. If there was something like a stereo effect, if Dana grumbled and moaned like, the word prostitute would be more than enough to describe the woman Arnie had. Either way, he didn't feel like what he and Arnie were doing was similar.
Friends with a lot of young comics, and we would
why did Arnie look depressed like Todd?
Take it and then come over to
sample to find out if they like having someone else's husband. He might understand if Dana didn't find Todd so interesting.
I just love it because
even if it was a very extreme experience for her, what happened? Did she want more? Why did she spend 2 nights with Dana that week after that poker night? Was that why he found out about it later? Why? How? If in a hypothetical universe Dana couldn't get enough of Todd, would Hilda allow Dana to see him like that again? Did Dana let her do this? Or was Dana there too? Did they do something together, like the 3 of them? Was she at their home at that time? Was she squirming, gasping, and moaning as he caressed her? Moaning like a wounded animal, saying muffled things like she did that night a few feet away from him? What did Dana do then? Or is Hilda doing something to her? The image burned into his brain. Dana reigning over Hilda's face, Arnie giving it to Hilda, making her moan. Was he punished? Why not Arnie? Was Todd and sex with him really that insignificant? Why wasn't he even invited to this? Not that he would agree to such a thing, but was there a way to find out what was really going on? Arnie drove Hilda and Todd back to their house. Todd got out of the car, still in his head. Dana said, "Arnie, give us a ride to the mall so Hilda and I can go shopping." Todd stood on the sidewalk and looked at Hilda with empty eyes. There's lasagna in the fridge in case I'm late, she said before closing the door. Todd watched with regret as the car took off. As always, as the series definition explains, it is a snapshot of a specific period with untold parts and no sex. Kate looked at Rita, who was waiting at her door on Sunday morning. This was starting to irritate me. She was a friend from university, but only that. She was never one of the people Kate spent quality time with. Her superficial interruptions and reactions to everyday things, self-praise, choice of clothing, especially those clothes. She would be less annoying if she wore new clothes. But no, she acted like she was very sophisticated and dressed like a queen. Too mature for her age, too inconsistent with her surroundings, almost annoying. They got together once or twice a year, mostly because of mutual friends or third-party acquaintances. And she never changed. It was no surprise that she was still single. She talked about some lovers or dates, but no one wanted to listen in detail.
Because she grew up in that fucking crazy community.
Exactly.
So she has that thing.
You know what I mean?
That used to be all over the place.
She always added that they did not know how to behave outside the bed, but they failed in dealing with a lady.
Yeah, it's
this was the reason why no one had ever seen any of them. These arguments and stories were boring and stupid, and probably a lie. Thanks to Phoebe, who told her that Kate's husband Dylan is in the cash and printing business, Rita started appearing more often in Kate's life a while ago. She contacted Dylan, showed him some of her work. Kate still wasn't sure what it was about, by the way, and tried out his services. During this time, she began attending every social event that Kate and her friends planned. Oh, you should see how disciplined and meticulous Dylan is. I know I'm in good hands. She never tired of telling Kate's friends about him. It was stupid. Some other woman was talking about Kate's husband as if she had any idea about him. It was as if she was talking about her new boyfriend. Like she was going to say, my Dylan, in one of those endless phrases. And she did it in front of Kate. I'll make you regret this, Phoebe, she whispered one day.
Right.
Oh, she's trying to compliment you, to show her gratitude to you. Perhaps she tried, but Kate didn't like it. And on Sunday morning, when Dylan wasn't working, when they were getting ready to have breakfast as a family, she was at Kate's door without an invitation. Hi, Kate. Sorry to come on Sunday, but we have an urgent problem that needs to be resolved as tomorrow is the deadline on this matter. Kate was trying to choose her words carefully when she saw Dylan and shouted, "Hey, Dylan." He was surprised by her appearance, but did not seem upset. Hi, Rita. What a pleasant surprise.
I don't mean
she walked past Kate and started talking to him.
about it.
I couldn't wait for these thoughts to leave my head. Look,
in
I
the
brought you
face
cupcakes,
of
the ones you like.
hatred, she
it's funny that Kate was the only one who felt annoyed by this situation.
Her brother
it would have been easier for her if Dylan had shown signs of disapproval as well, especially given his rules about no work on Sunday or Sunday morning just for family only. He made Kate suffer several times over organizing brunch with friends on Sunday.
I'm not articulating it well.
No,
I know what you mean.
Is that like the topics she prioritized?
Just
she was
by her
superficial,
being
like that character in the TV series that you can't wait to die and leave the show. And who would dress like that on a Sunday morning? A very formal dress, dark telescopic tights, medium heels, styled hair, super far-fetched. Dylan would not enjoy the company of such a member of the sex.
She's like totally self-accepting.
She wouldn't let Kate talk to Dylan.
She loves
when breakfast was over, we got up and began to collect the dishes. This irritated Kate, seeing how she behaves like the housewife of this house. She got up and started packing the things too. A minute later, she noticed that Rita was not moving anything into the kitchen. She simply stacked 2 plates on top of each other and left them there to enjoy coffee with Dylan in Kate's garden. What was that? When Kate came out of the kitchen after washing the dishes, she saw them getting ready to leave. As if she hadn't taken over the entire morning, she said, "I need to keep your husband occupied for a few hours, honey." Dylan, Kate could tell. Out of anger, those might have been the only words she spoke that morning. "It's urgent, Kate. I'll be back after lunch." And they left. Kate called Phoebe and told her about it. You know her. Her priorities are the only things that matter. Not just in her life. She expects everyone to see it the same way. She's not a priestess of men, don't worry. Besides, you are by far the most beautiful among us. Stop defending her, Phoebe. She's behind Dylan all the time. Oh, are you really jealous? Are you afraid of losing Dylan to her, Rita? Oh, come on. It made her feel insignificant.
Twins are for kids.
I wouldn't go that far.
He wears blue, he wears red, like they're gay.
Dylan, isn't that tight?
It's just,
I mean, flirting.
It's kind of nonsensical.
She was right.
It's kind of
Dylan was a decent guy.
semi-hate speech, but it's like because it's coming from her. It's
she remembered her and Dylan's arguments in previous years.
So,
how he complained that Kate didn't wear skirts or tights. How he almost begged her to wear heels from time to time. Her answer to all of this was the same. He massaged her legs once or twice, saying that he would kiss them if she wore pantyhose. He tried every possible way to convince her. It wasn't like an obsession, but he had definitely been obsessing over the topic for some time. Again, her answer to all of this was the same. I don't want to wear uncomfortable clothes, and I don't think I need to wrap myself in any jewelry to be admired. If you want to kiss my feet, kiss them. I don't need it.
Was all of comedy.
She had a beautiful body. She was very beautiful, and in her opinion, she had dignity, which was the most important thing. Wearing clothes or going to the gym to look better is pathetic. But she didn't understand that such conversations killed the mood, made him regret any show of affection. They had a really bad fight when Dylan told her one day about a girl he saw at the gym. Although she had natural beauty, she ran for 2 hours on the treadmill next to me and ran faster than I could. As I was leaving, I saw her, and she was wearing the sexiest mini dress and pantyhose.
It's crazy.
Damn you, Dylan. Marry her if you want.
So Jewish.
I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking about her man. He must be a very good husband, unlike me, who deserves such efforts from his woman, especially such a woman. That's the thing.
It was so funny because I can't.
She was very angry about the first part, but he was also right.
Like he came
if she had listened to him, she would have realized that it wasn't about her appearance. It's probably not even about the clothes. It was about giving her husband what he asked for, what he liked. He needed to see the effort to attract her husband. As women always said, he probably expected his wife to show that she cared what he thought about her. And that Sunday morning, after he left for work, after he hung up on Phoebe, Kate saw Rita in a different light. She never missed the gym. She always wore skirts and tights, not loose, elegant, but sexy. Her shoes were always amazing. They didn't fit the occasion, but they were beautiful. For Dylan, it could be like a catering service, bringing food you couldn't cook at home, and she had to look. Any man to make her feel good. One of the husbands of her so-called friends. Friends who always talked about her behind her back. Such a move would make her feel satisfied on many levels. She couldn't stop thinking like that. Kate couldn't even begin to guess how promiscuous she might feel without a man in her life. She needed to be careful. She needed to stop seeing Dylan as soon as possible. They always pitied her for not finding a man, and no one believed her stories about her personal life. They also knew that her definition of the ideal man was just nonsense to justify her inability to attract men. She set her standards to the impossible to free herself from having to face that truth. And she must have been as excited as a mad dog. Kate didn't want her husband to become the object of her desperate quest for mating. Seeing any good behavior from any man, she could easily think that he is interested in her. And she could confuse Dylan because she had what he craved. Feminine, slender woman in tights. Something he couldn't find at home. Something different. She decided to talk to Dylan about it and warn him. If he didn't do it for Kate, she was going to use her own dirty mouth to put this sticky prostitute in her place. She spent that day in this mood.
It was a very Jewish gesture.
The way she analyzed his expression, trying to figure out if she was right to be suspicious, especially about such a low life.
Or the wherewithal to put a mezuzah outside your house. Maybe you would hang this inside the doorway because you're a Jew.
First of all, I'll remind you about all this Sunday morning crap another time. I won't go into that.
I've never had a mezuzah, and for my birthday this year, Jeff Ross got me a mezuzah.
It wasn't my friend who showed up on our doorstep. I said we'll talk about it later. The main problem is that I don't want to see her that often. We invite her to our girls' nights just to avoid offending her. So get rid of it. If necessary, ruin her job, and she will leave. Of course, if work is what she really strives for.
I don't know.
Get rid of. He stopped. Wait, what?
There's a story in our family, and
oh, you're incredible.
But
what? How incredible am I?
You enjoy the comfort of knowing that you have me, and when someone else shows attention to me, it annoys you.
I don't believe you're jealous. I'm sorry. You just don't want me to wake up to see that I deserve more attention. Kate's eyes threw fireballs at him. She wasn't even sure if he was serious or if he was doing it to reflect his thoughts to her. Dylan, stop talking like I'm one of those cruel women. I don't see attention from you every day either, do I? Noticing that she was getting drawn into the side argument, she returned to the main topic before allowing him to say anything. That woman scares off men, and she's the only one for a reason. Her desperation may be driving her to pursue our husbands.
And my
I don't want her
mother
talking about
opened
you in
it
front of
up
my
and she
friends.
goes, "Oh, there's
You are my husband,
instructions
and I don't want to see another woman
inside."
talking about you.
And then she opened it, unscrolled it, and said, "Oh,
she says
they're in
that. Glad I was
Hebrew."
able to make someone proud. Stop it. Did she make you any advances? Dylan didn't expect this. He was surprised, but he liked seeing Kate in this state. Define advances. He apparently wanted to play. This didn't help Kate. Dylan, I swear I'm going to start throwing things at you. I don't know what you mean, but she makes me feel good, if that's acceptable. Go to hell. Are we talking about tights? Dylan had a funny expression on his face for a second, as if he had just been reminded of something. Tights. He turned to the horizon behind the wall. Yes,
I don't have any good stories.
Kate wanted to hit him,
that
but she
Jews
spoke
don't
calmly
have
instead.
hell, and
You find
yet
her attractive.
we seem to fear
She talks
hell
about my
in
work and
every
evaluates it, and we get into this conversation.
I don't know
No,
what the
Kate,
hell is. I think there is a hell, but I'm not that deep in.
I realized that her legs look beautiful in those tights. Not sure if her legs are more beautiful than yours. If I ever saw yours in pantyhose, I might be able to compare them. The entire conversation is wrapped up in their previous problems. Yes, Dylan wanted to see tights, skirts, and heels on his wife, but she forbade him. But this did not give him the right to look at other women's legs. You won't look at her feet anymore.
Good stories.
I look at every woman's legs in pantyhose. What's the difference?
And her
Dylan, you're going overboard. You will never look at any woman's feet again. You will only look at mine. What are you, an animal? If you can't do a single thing your husband asks, then you have no right to decide where he looks. Sorry, but due to my lack, I can't even control where I live. Kate didn't understand what percentage of what he said was true and what percentage of what he said was just to make her angry. Will you stop seeing her? Sorry, no. I have a contract with her. She made me sign an NDA not only for my work, but also for other people's work. I think we will have to work for at least another 5 months. Okay, then I'll talk to her. Great idea. It would be smart to give her ideas too. Kate's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What idea are you talking about? What idea did I give you? Her legs, for starters. And the fact that she pursues me after a long, dry argument. I think I won't be able to sleep tonight when there are so many possibilities. Shut up. She threw a pillow in his direction, but missed the target. Legs and tights, she thought as she left. She knew he might be right. It wasn't like she was giving him ideas. A marriage couldn't be this vulnerable. She also knew men. A man doesn't need anyone to give him ideas. You can't put something in there when it's already there. Plus, anyone can confuse a man at any time, especially those married idiots. But he was right about that bitch. If she talks to her like that, she'll probably think that Kate perceives her existence as a threat, which could motivate her if she has such plans. If not, then Kate will make her think that such a possibility exists. She decided to calm down and take matters into her own hands. The following week, Kate and Phoebe went shopping. She didn't say anything, but Phoebe still knew it was something new. They bought 2 elegant yet sexy skirts,
my grandmother didn't want anyone to sound Jewish. They changed their last name from Cohen to Halpin, which was I didn't know until I did find new roots.
Dylan won't know what awaits him.
But you know
I don't need these things to catch
the
prey.
actress,
Especially Dylan. He's been hanging around me since I've been on strike.
Tova Feldshuh,
don't say it's because of Rita
and everything.
He refused to stop working
I worked with her, and she was probably about my mother's age.
What?
And
Phoebe looked like she had said something wrong without realizing it.
She said her real name, her given name is Terry Sue.
I know that he works day and night, but I didn't
and
know
that it
this
was a
viper was with him all
boyfriend
this
in
time.
college
So
that she
you're
was
probably
madly in
Rita's
love with, who's like,
There's nothing secret about this. She had said the same thing 2 days ago in the pub to others. She would have told you too if you hadn't left us that night. She's not a viper. That's just how she is. You know,
that's so funny.
Kate hated it. It was like a snowball that gets bigger every day and collects everything around it, rolling down the hill. For a moment, she considered lying to Phoebe that the shopping wasn't about Dylan, to make her think that there was someone else because she felt too vulnerable. For the first time in her life, she began to doubt herself, to compare herself with other women. Also, Phoebe might have told Rita about this, and Rita might have thought that information would help Dylan approach her. Kate was sure that this would make Dylan hesitate and come to his senses. He doesn't risk losing Kate, not for the sake of a nice, wrapped, empty box. But she didn't, because Rita could have just kept this information to herself and confused Dylan. Even dumb women can be very smart when it comes to seduction.
Yeah, my grandmother was
Then her phone rang. It was Dylan. Hello, honey. I'm going home, and we'll work there tonight. The office is undergoing renovation. I'll be working from home this week. That's why I called you. She'll be here in half an hour. I didn't want you to go crazy when you see her here, making things up in her mind. Kate didn't answer. So if you don't trust me, come home quickly to save me from her clutches. Or if you can't stand it, come home late. By the way, do we have beer at home? I don't know. And she hung up on his face. Phoebe looked at her, waiting for Kate to speak. It was obvious that something had made her angry. She will be at my house tonight, and probably every day of this week. Kate told Phoebe what she was going through, their quarrel with Dylan and her mood. Phoebe suggested they go there together so they could see their work and Phoebe could confirm that her fears were unfounded. She could have been a neutral witness to give her opinion. Wait, Kate said. She took her bags and went to the cafe toilet. A few minutes later, she returned wearing a dark blue skirt, brown tights, and brown shoes. Phoebe said, "You're great, but you didn't have to do that. You're always great. Thanks, but I don't want to look like a nurse next to her."
You ready?
Okay, then your blouse doesn't fit. Let's go buy you a white shirt. And please stay calm at home. As they entered the house, Kate felt a shiver run down her spine as she heard Rita's laughter in the living room.
Well, thanks for
stopping by,
and the special was great.
Hello, honey. I hope we're not in the way.
Thank you, my friend.
Hey, where have you been? Dylan's expression changed when he saw Kate like this. He looked at her in disbelief, and Kate was more than pleased with this. Seeing her husband drooling and eyeing her like that, she almost forgot all her insecurities.
Sarah Silverman and me.
She was a good friend of Rita's, but probably wouldn't have accepted her friend as a marriage breaker.
Special
Kate
Sarah
cursed herself for putting herself in such a vulnerable position in her mind. Dylan stood as Rita broke the silence. Finally, Kate, you look great. You found the right way, which Kate couldn't hide her irritation. My way, and that annoying laugh. Phoebe was laughing too.
Hey folks, you can check out the first time Sarah did a full WTF episode if you have a WTF Plus subscription.
He said coldly
it's episode 116, which is only available to subscribers.
Was he satisfied? She was still standing when Rita stood up with her empty cup to go to the kitchen. Does anyone want coffee? I can make some tea if you want, she said as she walked past them. Kate didn't answer. She watched as Rita walked into the kitchen, poured herself some coffee, opened the cupboard, grabbed some cookies, and returned to the seat reserved for Kate. This time Kate looked at her legs and body too.
I've been a lot
Her
more
legs, firm butt,
disciplined,
slender
and
but graceful waist,
writing the book
everything looked better
actually
than her.
helped me
She
with
hated
that
feeling
a
like she was in
little
It's
competition
amazing,
with this
right?
idiot over her husband. Phoebe took her hand again and led her to the bed. She changed into regular clothes. They went to the kitchen. Kate emptied the coffee pot and made fresh coffee, thinking that Rita had made the coffee.
And I did
They sat at
realize,
the dining table with coffee, looking at Dylan and Rita or each other, not talking. Phoebe looked like she thought Kate was exaggerating. But she didn't say anything because she could understand how she felt. Not because of Rita's behavior, but she agreed that what Dylan did was not easy to accept.
Have a lot
there was constant
more
giggling,
material
and she would touch Dylan's arm, laughing at his not-so-funny jokes. She then leaned forward and took off her shoes before placing her feet on the coffee table. Dylan spoke slurred and stopped. Kate could have sworn he was looking at her feet as she stretched her toes.
No,
she remembered their conversation
but
as he
I'm
massaged her
starting
feet.
to.
She
You know,
thought
like,
envy how aesthetically
you know what I
pleasing they
did
looked in
is
those dark
like,
tights.
whenever I
she was seducing her
have
husband
like
right
a
in front
show
of her,
at
and she watched the insult in
Largo or
silence.
show UCB
Dylan
or
still sat there,
something,
not saying a word. She couldn't see his face,
I'll
but
go,
she was sure
all
what he was
right, I'm
focusing
going
on.
to take
She wanted to
today
grab
and
him
I'm
by the
going to
hair
go to
and beat
some
him until he lost
hotel
consciousness.
lobby
Honey, we
and
put food on
sit
his coffee
with a
table.
legal
This is a legless
pad or
zone.
my
She could tell.
laptop, and
Oh, sorry,
because
Kate,
I'm
my fault.
around
And to
people,
make
I'm
matters
going to
worse,
have
she
to
gathered her
look
legs
like
under
I'm
her,
working,
pointing
and
them
it
towards
forces
Dylan.
me to
Thanks
get
to Kate's
something
intervention,
done, and
her
that
feet were
night
only
I'm
inches away from him.
always happy.
She was grateful he didn't have a
To sign up for
otherwise it might have burned
WTF
his
Plus
mind.
and get
On the other
every
hand,
episode
warm
of
female flesh wrapped in
WTF
pantyhose should
ad-free,
definitely be something
go
that
to
most
the
men
link
would
in
find
the
interesting.
episode
She thought
description
about
or
bringing
go
her an
to
ottoman, but decided to stay put.
WTFpod.com
An hour later,
and
Phoebe stood up and
click on
said, I need to be home
WTF
before Harry gets back.
Plus.
She went with her and asked about her
And
impression.
just a reminder
basically,
before
there's
I
nothing strange
go,
in this picture.
this
But when I
show is
introduced Harry
hosted by
instead of Dylan, I suddenly
Acast.
felt that she was sitting too close to him.
Here's some
I understand why you're annoyed.
I think
you
it
want me
was
to talk to
kind
her.
of meditative.
What about what you said? What if we give her ideas? Again, feeling vulnerable, especially in front of this arrogant bitch. Kate shuddered. Phoebe probably felt that Kate was beginning to believe that Rita could take her husband if she wanted, or at least confuse him. What Kate said meant this, that all her hope is limited by Rita's decisions, to take my husband or not. Think about it. If you want, I'll talk to her. Or if you want, I will tell her as if it were my thought, that I found the scene awkward, that we married women don't like such things, that I would have killed her if she acted like that around Harry. It makes sense. Please don't tell her what I think. I don't want her to think I'm such a weakling. Go to hell, Dylan. Okay, calm down, please. After she left, Kate sat for a while, watching them. Then she noticed what time it was. She forgot about dinner. Is anyone hungry? Nobody answered. They didn't hear her, or worse, they ignored Kate. That's how she felt. Hello, no food, I'll order something. Are you hungry? She screamed. They looked at her, and Dylan said, what would you like, Rita? Looking at Rita. Chinese food would be nice. For example, shrimp noodles. Great, Chinese then. Me too, shrimp noodles, and soup, sour and spicy. Kate was planning to order a Turkish doner from a new kebab shop nearby. She wanted meat, but they were going to eat what Rita wanted. She hoped that she could get through this week without a nervous breakdown. She ordered Chinese food. It was almost midnight, and Kate was struggling not to close her eyes. But she didn't want to go to bed. She sat there like a caretaker. She was in the mood, as if they were going to start making out while she was sleeping. When she couldn't stand it anymore, she said, is it too late, Dylan? Kate, we need to finish this. I'll send them to the publisher this week. Go ahead, don't wait for me. This week is like that. Dylan, she's right. We are disturbing her, said Rita. Kate didn't expect Rita to act so politely, especially in her defense. I say that this week we will work for me. No time limit. Oh, you viper, she thought. She was about to object when Dylan said, if you say so. No, it's not a problem for me. You can work here. She hated herself for it. She had already given one of her frontiers to Dylan. She planned to make his life hell for him, working there with her. No, she's right. We can focus better here. It would be no use if she insisted. She knew. She would look awkward again, and perhaps she would be jealous. They were already looking at some drawings on her notepad screen. She decided to wait for Phoebe to talk to her and went to bed. She heard her giggle several times. She couldn't resist stepping out of bed to make sure they were sitting the same way before she went back and fell asleep. 2 days later, Phoebe called. Finally, Kate was waiting to talk to this distortion. I told her what we had planned, more or less. And what? I reminded her how wives can read everything differently, even normal interactions, and that I won't act so comfortable with another woman's husband. And what? I also told her that we would have problems with her if she acted like that around Harry. Phoebe, I realized you told her this, when you said what we planned. That's it. And what did she say? A little. I mean, she probably knows what's wrong, right? Why do I feel like you're not very relaxed? She's a little, you know. Phoebe, she said, oh, you don't have to worry about Harry, relax. What? What did she mean? It was alarming. Harry was safe. Well, Phoebe, what about Dylan, herself? Didn't she say anything about Dylan? I don't know. I think she spoke in the context of our conversation. I wonder if she insulted my husband by saying that. But the context was about Dylan, how she acted around him. I don't know, Kate, that's all. She sounded worried. Perhaps because she didn't like being in the middle. Perhaps she didn't want to talk about the topic anymore, or for some other reason. Kate didn't dwell on it at that moment. She was focused on Rita's words. That night she was on pins and needles when Dylan arrived. When she smelled some perfume, she lost her temper. Do you also arrange romantic dinners with her? Or are you going somewhere? Kate, please, I'm very tired. I have no doubt that you are tired. She started to walk away, but turned around. How is this possible? I told you I'm uncomfortable. I told you I don't trust her. Even if you behave decently, I told you about the situation in which she puts me in front of my friends. You see that I'm unhappy. You know that I stayed late that night simply because I didn't want to leave you alone with her. But you don't care. I told you so. I signed a contract and we are working. I don't remember you staying so late at work or working on Sundays. I never take calls at night or on weekends, never outside of working hours. You could tell her to keep everything within your working hours. But no, instead of getting rid of her, you became her property. This time Dylan exhaled loudly without answering and went to the bedroom. She followed him. And that day I dressed the way you wanted, just for you. But you didn't even comment. Dylan chuckled. I was going to. Then I realized why you dressed like that. Let's not deceive each other. What did you understand? That you didn't care to do this for me at least once. But when you thought I liked the way Rita looked, you dressed exactly like her. It wasn't about me. You tried to do something in reaction to her. I didn't want you to get confused over such superficial nonsense. But you didn't think about it.